Hello, people of P&K. With me tonight, as you all may know him already, is Bill New York Skywatcher. Hello, people
Good
of
evening.
P&K. Whoops, that's me. With me tonight. Gotcha. You're good. Had the volume on. My bad.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Anyway, how have you been?
I've been living, you know.
Now, I just want to say it's incredible. For one thing, even though I have a front seat right here, everybody has a front seat for this view. This is what makes this so great, is what you guys do with the image, the video. It's just amazing. Even though it looks like we're dealing with a little clouds right now.
Yeah, and Paul just texted me and said that's going away, and then it's clear.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's just blowing past real quick.
I wanted to ask you before we get too deep into a conversation otherwise. Can you explain? I know it's definitely the brightest of the year, the supermoon, but why is it a snow moon?
Snow moon is basically just what they call the February full moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just one of the nicknames for it. There's many others too that would call it, but they usually call February's full moon the snow moon just because it's in North America. February's the snowiest month. So they call it the snow moon.
Now, how many scopes is he using tonight?
He is using 3. And anybody looking for major zooms tonight, sorry, that probably will not be happening just because it is a full moon. And as we have said before, full moons are absolutely horrible for imaging, which is why we're doing the wide field object watches tonight. Paul tonight has the 2,000 millimeter, the 4,800 millimeter, and the 300 millimeter. All
nice.
3 scoops are out and ready to rock.
So what is the diameter of the scopes he's using right now? What are we using?
The one right now is the... Let's see. I have the 72 millimeter on screen, but it's not that one. It is... Just want to think it's the medium one. Because these are all ones that he doesn't normally use, so I don't have things for those. For the, you know, how I usually put it at the bottom left of screen, whatever scope he's using.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are ones we don't normally use, so we don't have it on there.
Now, does he tune in while we're streaming here?
Sometimes, if he feels like it.
Okay, just if he's not listening right now, please tell him that I say hello.
Definitely, always do.
And
always tell him that you're threatening him if he doesn't show up.
That's exactly what I was going next. Is he coming from Pine Bush?
That's the plan.
Oh, is he gonna ship telly here?
I have no idea. No idea.
Well, you know that Ronald bought a telescope.
I did see that.
And he's bringing it.
He bought a 8-inch telescope, right?
I don't know if it's 8 or... I don't know. I think it might. I think you're right. I think it is 8.
Yeah.
But
does he know how to use it?
I think he's going to bring it here so you guys can show him how to work it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's cool.
He bought a case today for, I think, $200 or $300 for it.
A case?
A case to carry, to transport his telescope.
Yeah, awesome. Welcome everybody in the chat. Once again, joining me is Bill New York Skywatcher, the main man with the wide field cam.
Yeah, that's what I do. I leave the moon and the planets to these guys, and leave the deep space objects to Mark, because he does a tremendous job on Sky 2 live stream.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit for everyone.
We were having me and Mark got into a pretty good heated conversation the other night about time.
And like what?
Well, the thing was, I was trying to explain to him that the way he was, because we were having a debate whether time was the 4th dimension, and the way he kept on explaining it, the parameters that he was putting in it, and I said, well, then that doesn't make it a dimension, you know, because I was basing it like time basically has to have the characteristics of the other 3 known dimensions, right? Because the first dimension is a line. The second dimension, you know, is horizontal and vertical. And then the third dimension is like a cube, right? It adds depth. So in order for the 4th dimension or time to be the 4th dimension, it would have to incorporate the other 3 dimensional properties.
All right. So are you saying that the law of time has to apply to the 4th dimension?
Well, no, I was saying that basically if we have to apply the other 3 things, so you have a line, you can move forward and backward on that line, okay? if you go to the second dimension, which is forward and backward and up and down, and then the third dimension is forward, backward, up or down, and depth, pretty much in and out. So time being what I was trying to say is those properties have to be relevant in a fourth dimension if time is going to be the fourth dimension. So yes, we always move forward in time, but maybe we just haven't discovered how to move backward in time yet. And I used the parallel universes as the depth analogy. So basically, parallel universes, both times are moving forward, but it's on different timelines, which would be the depth of the fourth dimension.
All right, but when we're looking at and observing deep space objects, we're actually looking back in time.
Correct. That's what I mean. So that's where the tricky part was, because Mark was saying it's just an observation, like time is man-made. And I'm like, well, if it's in order for it to be the fourth dimension, then it can't be man-made.
All right, but when we think of the basic, yeah, you're going to get deep on this now.
Yeah.
When we think of time for us here on Earth, it's because of our sun and how we rotate.
Right, but time would be here regardless.
Of course it would. It would exist, but maybe not through the mechanics that we see time as. If there's a civilization out there, their application of time could be totally different from ours.
True.
Due to soul.
Or is that just considered their calculation of time?
That's a great question.
Because we calculate our time on basically how many times we revolve around the sun.
It's almost like saying if they travel at the speed of light, what would time mean for them?
Well, exactly. And then I try to bring up the point that, of time dilation. Gravity can manipulate time. So I think time is a dimension. I just think that we haven't discovered all the properties of it yet.
Or how to use it. Especially if you're traversing through the universe using some type of a wormhole. I mean, it's possible. I mean, this is the thing that gets me crazy. We always look at things in a human perspective, and we consider ourselves to be somewhat advanced, even though we're type 0 civilization.
Yeah.
But when we get to a point where we have more understanding and the basics, especially of space travel, that's going to change everything.
Yeah.
On how we view things, because that they are observing and discovering new dimensions.
Yeah. Well, so far I think they're up to 11.
Yeah.
Like
you got string theory. I mean, there's so much that we have yet to comprehend, and
I know we have so much to learn as a species.
Yes.
But are you one of those believers that that a species can hit peak, eventually, and then what comes after, peak
what
evolution?
As far as evolution, yeah, right. Well, this is the crazy thing, though. Evolution may not necessarily be a natural thing, especially if you're thinking about it in a transhumanism perspective, with the implication of AI.
Yeah. What do you think incorporating AI is kind of what is going to get us to the peak in human evolution? Like the combination of automatic, like AI and humans, that combination of the both in one.
Right. But see, what if the biological host is no longer needed? What if you can upload the human consciousness into a machine? I mean, this is really deep stuff. And, you see a lot of people out there that fear the AI.
Yeah.
It also has to do with some of the things we see in science fiction. But
a lot of people fear what they don't understand.
That's true, too. That's definitely. But that a lot of sci-fi eventually becomes sci-fact.
Well, I think science strives to make sci-fi sci-fact.
It's
sci-fi
imagination
itself is what brings the creativity and the ideas to the table to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, those people back in the early 1900s and stuff thinking about, communication devices and all that stuff. Science strived to get to that point.
It's almost like if you look at Flash Gordon or some of the older movies before there were rockets. It was implied, and
Yeah.
you've seen it in movies. I'm
Star
not
Trek
saying,
with their little handheld things.
yeah, that's right. The cell phone, the flip cell phone.
Yeah. And they're handing back and forth flat pads. There's your iPad.
Yes, that's right. Like a tablet.
Yeah. There are doors that would open and close by themselves back in the 70s. Next thing you know, 1980s, almost every store has a door that opens and closes by itself.
You have to wonder, too, if there's a concept that they've got inside information to the future.
I don't think so. I think it's literally just science trying to make sci-fi into fact.
Yeah.
Like they see something that's impossible and they start working towards it to make it a reality.
Well, hopefully they won't watch too many movies based on military, because if that's the case,
yeah.
Boy.
Well, there's a lot of movies out there warning about the military too. Like what would happen. I mean, but they're the ones with the pockets. You know what I mean?
What better way than to endanger human life is to put something out there that is mechanical. You see how the drones are used. Yeah. But can you imagine if they built an AI that can go out on the battlefield? I mean, it's scary. It really is scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
The implications. They already have...
well, would a robot army be considered a weapon of mass destruction? You would think so, right?
I think they would categorize it more. What kind of capability does it have as far as weapons are involved? Do you know what I mean? I don't think you're going to AI the capacity to launch tactical or... You know what I mean?
That's true.
They're going to
I'm just looking for the solid advantage of them not being able to be killed, per se. You know what I mean?
That's
because back in the old days, like World War I and stuff like that, when you ran out of bullets and stuff on a battlefield, guess what happened? They met on the battlefield and fists started a flying. What are you going to fight a robot? Especially one that has fully mobile, just like a human, except doesn't have any nerve endings. It's almost unfair.
It's incredible that we have to not only worry about the man-made possibility of destruction, but also the natural phenomenon, the NEOs, near Earth orbit objects.
War at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how much is out there that we just don't know yet.
Yeah.
The smaller ones are tough, because they're hard to pick up. The larger ones, basically, they have an understanding of which ones are potential threats.
That's what scares me.
Yes.
The small robots. Like the ones posing as bees or, mosquitoes.
Well, I'm thinking more asteroids or impacts that can affect our planet.
No, but remember back in the game Mass Effect? Mass Effect 2, I think it was. Where this evolved civilization actually used something called seeker swarms. And they were these little, robot bee-looking things. And literally there was hundreds of thousands of them, and they could overwhelm a population very easily.
But they have that now. They have the nanotechnology.
And it's really getting there too.
Absolutely. The thing is, we don't see what they really have, and what they have is probably 50 years into the future.
Yeah.
They don't. It's like, why would you show your card to other nations if it's not a point where it's a necessity to do so?
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. You want to keep them guessing too.
Chalice asks, who is the guest? The guest is Bill New York Skywatcher, one of the 3 main components of Astro Imaging Live, hopefully to be more soon.
Yes.
But he is the guy that takes care of all the meteor showers and the wide field open sky views, watching for UFOs. It's a good time. Good channel.
Paul's got my back on that UFO stuff, though. I know that.
Yeah.
Because I know he's pretty much into that.
I do too.
But
I'm just a little more skeptical. That's a little bit
more. Yeah, but you're starting to get a little bit more open-minded on it.
I've always been open-minded. The thing is, just my brain requires proof.
We all want that. And even though I'm involved with this, that I'm producing with the network.
Right.
And I get myself entangled with so many guests and hosts on a daily basis. I have yet to have any little hint that something is really going on. And I produce, like I said, I've I do Linda Moulton House show. I do Dolan. I do Don Ecker. I do all these people.
Yeah.
And with all those guests that I'm in, you know, I listen to while I'm producing, you know, it's great to hear someone who you deem as credible, former military, pilot.
Well, see, that's what gets me. You know, that's what actually made me come forward and say, okay, this stuff is really happening. There's so many cases from credible witnesses, what we as a society deem credible witnesses. You're talking about police officers, military. You know, these are the people that we hold the highest standard to. And they're coming forth and saying that this stuff is happening and what they've seen. So you can't just write it off.
No. And I'm very careful because you've seen what I had from 2014.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very careful. I would never say if I seen something on the camera that it's a UFO. I like UAP.
Yeah.
I don't like UFO. I don't like the acronym. I use UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Seems like everybody's using that these days just because of the stigma around UFO.
UFO, yes. And I captured something in 2014, and I know it's a craft. Now, I don't know of what origin, but it's definitely a craft by its movement. And then it stops for a second with 3 lights on it, and then it just zooms back into space. Like, what is that?
I remember looking at that.
Now, my best guess would be it's a military drone.
That's a fast military drone.
Yeah, but drones move fast, especially if you have to think that there's stuff up there. We don't even know what the X-37B is doing. And that thing is up there for years at a time. Mm. And it's run by the Air Force.
Let me just tell the chat once again. Once again, if you're looking for zooms tonight, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's too bright.
It's a full moon tonight. Everything is just completely washed out with white. We're doing the wide field moon watch night to check for passing satellites or whatever, you know. But we're going to keep it mostly on wide. There's 3 scopes up. There's 3 wide field scopes up for people that are just joining us. So there will be different views closer and farther away, but there won't be any big scope tonight at all. Just so you know.
Yeah, it's definitely beautiful. That's still a nice shot. I think he might be having some clouds still because it's it's pixelating.
Yeah, well, that's this scope.
Saturation.
It's not the best optical scope. You'll see once he goes on the 80 millimeter, the good, you know, refractor telescope it'll be. But then YouTube's compression has been way crappy lately too. You know, I'm feeding this in at 1080p, you know, at 4,000 what you call it? What do you call that? I totally forgot the name of it.
What, per second? What are you talking about?
Yeah, frames per second. No, it's not 4,000. It's a bit rate. I'm running at 4,000 bit rate per second.
Well, the thing is, okay, he just looks like he might be switching over now, maybe?
It's possible. But, I mean, and yeah, so it's, you know, when you get clouds, like, see, this camera is made for the moon when it's in phases, not made for full moons or whatnot. So you're just going to get a lot of pixelation, you know, just something we can't help. You know, it's not actually made for this. It's made for the big scopes. It's made for zooming. You know,
there's going to be, and you know, I have inside information on stuff, being what I do. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out this year. They're making, this is known, this is coming out soon, the Rendlesham series. But it's fictional. It's with Lawrence Fishburne. But later in the year, the TTSA guys are releasing something, and supposedly they're going to release some new, unseen footage. See, this is the thing that gets me. If it's unclassified, how good can it be?
Yeah.
I want to see what they really have. Unclassified, that means it's for public consumption. What about the stuff that's not for public consumption, that we're not aware of? I hear so many people tell me, and this goes for pilots, civilian or military, you think they're actually going to make, and definitely police officers. I speak to the police here in my town. But do you think they're going to actually go on the record, file a report? Do you know what happened? I know a pilot. He told me this story, that he's seen something. And he reported it. He actually put it on a report.
Yeah, usually they say that's the one thing not to do.
Yes, and you know what they did immediately? They sent him for a psych eval.
Well, that's almost the same thing that happened to those poor pilots in Chicago when they had that over O'Hare.
O'Hare, yeah.
Well, those guys said put it in their reports, and next thing you know.
But you have to be out of your mind, because you got to remember, you're threatening your livelihood, your pension, because that's what you're going to think about, your career.
Yeah.
Your career is on the line if you even come out with something. Because there's a guy that does a lot of work. He's been on many shows. His name is Tyler Rogaway. Mm-hmm. And he writes for the War Zone. And it's really for military applications. There's a lot of information there that's in regards to the military. But once in a blue, he'll come out and he'll write things about things that are going on between pilots and air traffic control, and you're hearing it and you're seeing, because they put the FOIA in. They get the data, the radar, all the stuff that they say between the pilots and the air traffic control, and they're describing an object, and you could see how careful the pilots are when they're describing something.
Oh yeah, they're choosing their words very wisely.
Very carefully. Because there was an incident in Oregon about, I think it was almost 2 years now, and this thing was big. Now, they even scrambled jets after this thing. The consensus is it was probably a drug runner. Now, I am not so sure about that, but that's what they tried to say it was. It was probably a drug runner flying low on the radar, but this thing was hanging off the wing, and they're talking about it. We see it, and then they're calling in all the other pilots that are coming inbound to where the object is last reported, and they're trying to contact them. Do you see this? And this was, and it's still up on the War Zone from last year, but there's a lot of things, Keith.
Yeah.
That we just don't know. We're not aware. And then they come out.
What do you think? You think the U.S. military likes to keep this thing secret? Not being that we would use it, but if somebody else discovered or has the tech, they're afraid that somebody else will.
It's national security. If you had access to any kind of insight or information or technology, you think we're going to just put it out there so the whole world would know what the heck it is? They're going to want a piece of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, now it's out there. Everybody's going to want access. So heck no. That's about national security. It's a no-brainer to me. Why would you disclose something like that? You want to be 2 steps, 3 steps ahead of your adversary.
Which is why stuff gets released when it does. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And in the age that we live in with hackers and cyber warfare, and it's unbelievable how much is stolen. Billions and billions of dollars worth of technology. Yeah. Especially through our 2 major adversaries, China and Russia. Not you could add the other ones to the list too, but I don't want to get into a political thing here. But this is a real danger, and they would be fools to put that on any kind of a server where it could be accessible. That thing is under lock and key. If they have something like that, it's under lock and key.
Yeah, and maybe not even a paper trail at that point.
No way. No way.
If it is a paper trail, it's a paper trail in one facility and one facility only that doesn't leave that place.
Hopefully. And I will say this, and again, I'm not going to get political. It would be nice if the United States, speaking for our country, puts more emphasis on the space program.
Yeah.
Why they let the shuttle go and not have a replacement ready to go is beyond me.
Well, I understand that. I mean, the shuttle was just money.
Have a backup plan instead of depending on the Russians to launch your astronauts to the ISS.
That's true. They could have held on to it for another 4 years and waited for SpaceX to get their stuff handled, and then used the SpaceX at least. Yeah,
they should have really had a backup plan.
Yeah,
for the space program.
I find it absolutely fascinating that we're going from a space shuttle going back to a capsule, because they realize that the capsule is the best way to do it. To go back to the moon and go to Mars, they're going back to the same kind of capsules as Apollo and Gemini.
It would be interesting if they were able to construct. See, this is the thing. Do we go? I hope, and if they're smart, they do all the testing going to the moon. That should be the playing field. That's where you got to do the experimentation on any type of long range mission to Mars, etc. They need to use the moon as your platform for testing.
It has to be a proving ground. Like it's a perfect place.
Yes. Another thing is, it would be nice if we had a colony and we can develop and resource the rare earth elements that are on the moon.
Now, see, that right there is where I start getting on the side of robotics and AI.
Yes, I agree.
Because if you launch them, if you have them and these robots know what they're doing, you can actually send them to the moon and they can actually build the facilities. They have a way to do. They have a robot that actually makes glass out of the silicone because they compiled quote unquote moon soil, basically the same composition, and this thing was able to scrape, grind, and then heat and make a glass, like a 3/4 inch thick glass plate out of it. It's like a 12x16 plate, and I'm like, that's freaking amazing. So if we send a bunch of these robots up there that are able to do this, we'll have a base on the moon in no time. Even if we do have to go up and finish it up, with humans.
Well, it looks like there's going to be a moon race.
I hope so.
You see China. China's all over it now.
And I was saying, months ago that I think Blue Origin's going to be the winner. And then, of course, he announced that, he was divorcing his wife and she's probably going to take half of it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to lose that one, because that was his space money, the FU money that he just had laying around, But I still think Blue Origin is going to be a really big player in everything, and I wouldn't be surprised in the next 5 years if either SpaceX buys Blue Origin or Blue Origin buys SpaceX.
Yeah, they'll call. Yeah, I agree with that because that's what happens. That's what happens today, the merging. And actually, see, that was what really hurt small business.
Yeah, and it'll be bad for innovation for space, too, if those two merge.
This is why, and I live in upstate New York, but New York City will never get a Walmart. And they don't want it because it would destroy small businesses. When you see all these bigger companies, they come together and they make these super companies, it's, how do you compete?
Well, they're following the lead that the banks did. Remember back, 30 years ago, there was banks everywhere. Your local bank, that was owned and operated by local people.
True.
Now you have, what, 5?
Yeah.
That own every bank around?
Chase, JP Morgan, yeah. I know what you mean.
Even the smaller ones like BB&T and Fulton, and, those guys are owned by the bigger guys. So you got Bank of America, you got, is it Waco? No, it's Wells Fargo now. So you got Wells Fargo, Bank of America,
right.
You got JP Morgan.
Yep.
Just that's it. And they own even the smaller local banks. They're all parts of that. It's crazy.
It is.
And it's crazy how they're allowed to keep doing it.
Did you see the picture of my Space Force jacket that I made?
No.
Are you serious? I didn't show it to you?
No.
All right, I'm going to send you the picture. Look at this. And I made it myself. I did. I bought all the, what do you call those? Decals, not like stickers, not stickers, patches. But patches. Thank you.
Yeah.
I bought them all online. I spent $60 on patches.
Everybody has a brain fart once in a while.
Yeah. I was busy all day editing shows for the network. Oh God. Anyway, let me show you. You got to see this. I want to get your opinion. Now, I'm all for the Space Force, and it's not because of aliens. It's because we have a real terrestrial threat with this. From Russia, from China, you want to throw in North Korea, but it seems like we have to stay ahead of the game here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm all for it. That's just me. That's just my opinion. And there's some other crazy stuff that people talk about in the ufology field, which I'm not grasping onto at all. But let me just show you the picture. I sent it to you on Skype.
I think the ufology field needs to get out of its own way.
It does. They need to start grasping onto real science, like Mark does.
That's cool.
You see it?
Yeah.
And let me show you the other side now with the arm. I wish they could see it in chat, but that's one side. But look at this patch. It's a one-of-a-kind patch. I got the last one. I can't even find it anymore.
You can probably write NASA and get mission patches if you wanted.
Oh, you can. They sell them on Amazon. You can get. Oh, heck yeah! You could buy a whole set of the. It comes with everything, like a set of 4 or 5 with the NASA and.
That looks like a Commander Cobra patch.
Oh wow! You see it?
Yeah.
That is a awesome United States Space Force. That is official right there.
Sweet. What is it? Rubber?
It's kind of like that kind of material, and it comes with a Velcro. I sewed the Velcro onto the jacket, and that just presses against it and holds it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's kind of a weird the way they do patches now. But yeah, I think there's definitely a need. The thing is, as always, where does the money come from? You know, because they're projecting this to be like an 800, what was it, billion?
I hope so.
I'm just saying.
Well, dude, they said that basically if you were to adjust for inflation, NASA's budget right now, at this day and age, this year, is 12% of what it was in 1965.
Wow.
12%.
Wow. That's bad.
Now, what's it going to take for them to start dumping money into space exploration? I don't care if it's through subsidies for SpaceX or Blue Origin or pumping money into NASA. Is it going to take a meteor strike for them to finally, say, listen, okay, we need to start paying attention to space?
Oh, here's a question for you before we get more into it. But let me just hit that before, because there was a question coming in. Tana's grabbed the question from the chat. But there's one way. Mine.
Yeah, well, it has to be profitable,
It has to be profitable. And that's what it is. The rare earth elements on that moon, right there.
Yep.
The thing is transporting it, the expenses, the cost. But
if there is money there, they will find a way.
Big money there. Big money.
I heard the biggest thing was that they need to actually find where,
Helium-3 is there. I mean, come on. There's so much rare earth.
Well, Helium-3 is going to be a big player once they figure out the ionized motor and everything.
Yes. And that would be a great launching point if you think about it. If you created something and you built something on the moon as your launch pad.
I said it before.
Earth.
Dude, if you were to launch things from the moon, you could get a gravity assist from Earth for extra speed, and you could really cut down the times to Mars.
And you don't have to worry about all that atmospheric interference.
Yeah.
As you do here on Earth.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to say within the next 50 years, there will be some sort of community on the moon. I'm not sure how they're going to do it.
Someone's going to do it.
They have to. They have to.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a space, a telescope based on the moon without the interference?
Yeah.
Oh my God. But that would be awesome.
That would be sweet.
And what's going on with the web? What is going on with the web?
Hopefully they're just making it perfect.
Is it now 2021? I haven't heard the latest. Do you know?
I thought it was 2020 now.
Oh, I thought I heard 2021 now.
But I say whatever it takes. Let them test. Let them test. Let them test the test.
Yeah, well, they got to make it right.
You only get one shot at this thing, and this thing, once again, I mean, it's falling into line with one of those things that is, too big to fail. They have spent so much money on this thing up to now. If they scrap it, you just wasted $500 billion.
Well, look what happened with the mirrors, even though they fixed it with Hubble.
Yeah. This thing you're not going to be able to fix.
No.
It has to be perfect from getting from storage to the launch pad onto the rocket up into the atmosphere, up into space, and then shot out to L2 out by Jupiter. And then once it gets there, it takes a month for everything to unfold because it's going to go so slow to make sure nothing rips or tears.
Quintus says May of 2021.
Okay. That makes sense. But the original launch date they had for that thing was 2009.
Yeah.
So it's only going to be 12 years overdue.
No. But if they, like you said, if they're going to do it right.
That's what I mean. I mean, if they have to test the test, I mean, they're going to make sure every little thing, this is not just going to be something they're just going to throw on a rocket and, pray. They are going to test every nut, bolt, to make sure, because once again, you only get this one shot. This is one thing that they truly have one shot to do and one shot only. And I do believe if they do get it up and it does go out and everything goes as planned, and we have the James Webb telescope out at L2, it is going to change astronomy just about the same way that going to the moon did. It's going to be that big of a deal. Because we're going to be able to see atmospheres of other planets circling other stars. We're going to be able to tell what those atmospheres are made of. And you know what we're going to be looking for? The same kind of composition that Earth has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but remember, we're a long way before traversing through the universe.
Oh, that's absolutely true. But if they see what this opens up is once they see a planet that has a similar atmosphere to Earth's, then they can direct things towards it. They can direct light, lasers.
Definitely lasers.
Huge lasers. Sound, point it, whatever. Even though it's the slowest way of travel. Like, they would be able to actually point stuff at that particular direction. So you're shooting stuff at a planet that could harbor life like ours anyway.
They're discovering so many exoplanets. It's like seems every day.
I know.
Can you just imagine?
Imagine what they're going to find when it's up there.
But we need to go in our own backyard because there's a lot here to explore. I would say we really need to explore our oceans. That's number one. I mean, there's so much of the ocean.
That has always been done. I mean, you think about it. The people that, everybody saw the moon, and then you had people looking towards Jupiter and Mars. When the people wanted to still study the moon, you had those forward thinkers that were looking beyond that. So it's almost like your initial party to go out and scope the scene. So you have these people looking at these exoplanets. So once we get all of our ducks in a row back here, say we get the moon thing done, then we know where we go next because the work has been done. You know what I mean? I can understand that. No, do I think we need to go to Mars before the moon? Absolutely not. We need to go back to the moon. On that. The moon, just because we've been there doesn't mean we explored it. There is a well, I won't curse.
Look, but we have not. I mean,
there's tons.
I'm not going to go into some of these crazy conspiracy people out there that speak about that we've never been to the moon and some other stuff. But it's been a long time, and before we start going out there,
when was it? 72? Was it
the last Apollo?
74? Yeah, might have been 74.
It's let's just say 70s. But we need to do a lot of testing before we risk any lives going into a deep space mission. There is no way we're just going to say, okay, we're going to go to Mars now without doing anything else. Without testing, no way. You can't.
Why do the testing? Because we are going there with 10,000 times the computer power that we did in the 60s.
You still have the Van Allen belt?
Yep.
There's still radiation that you got to consider. The dangers of space, the time it's going to take to get there. There's a lot of variables there. I mean, a lot of things can go wrong. You want to make sure you cover all your bases as much as you can before you send humans out into space. Yeah. You see how that Mars, remember that mission they were going to do? What was it? The Mars 1, whatever it was?
Oh, yeah, where they got volunteers.
Yeah. I mean, You see where that went? Nowhere.
Exactly. Because the technology has to be there.
Yeah. And testing must be done. But it's incredible. I don't know as far as money's involved, but you see how the ISS and you had countries come together. I don't know. It's going to be so it's going to cost a lot of money.
By the way, guys, Paul said about 5 minutes, and it looks like the clouds are out.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Just let you know, I'm out in a half hour. I got to go take her to the station. But
that's cool.
I wish I could stay longer. How long are you going to stream till?
I don't know. Tonight, with it being a full moon and we're not really zooming at all with the big scopes or anything, I don't see us going real long. I think we might go to 10.
But look at Opportunity. Look at the rover, the lifespan it had.
Oh, that thing was so sad. Did you read the last message it sent back?
I was emotional.
It was. It was. Oh, my batteries are getting low and it is getting dark.
Yeah, with the solar storm.
I'm like, okay, over dramatic, rover here.
The windstorm.
It's going out on a Shakespeare note.
It was almost, it reminded me of like Hal when the light is fading. It was like going slowly out. But 15 years. 15 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Ralph S.F. asked, do you think the government will let Elon Musk actually go to Mars? I do. He's doing all the work for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's coming out of his pocket.
Yep. I mean, he gets government subsidies.
He gets. Of course he does.
You know, but yeah, his company is doing all the work for him. So now NASA can concentrate on other things. You know, which is why they're concentrating on a moon base now, and those inflatables from Bigelow and all that kind of stuff, making lava tubes into, you know, bases. So, hey, as a space race is good. Competition is good. Everybody knows that. You put two gas stations across from one another, they have a competition for gas price. Competition is good. So the more people in the space race, the better. Now, it needs to be more privatized, I think, in order to really get the ball rolling instead of government backed, you know. But once again, you're getting a lot of new countries getting into the mix. I mean, Israel just announced that they're going to the moon. You have the one that's growing the fastest, the Indian Space Agency. You know, and of course China's in the mix, Russia's in the mix. So
everybody's in the mix.
Know, but once it comes down to making money, privateers are the ones that are going to drive it. And that begins with Blue Origin and SpaceX. And don't believe me, some of these Russian billionaires are going to get into the mix.
Of course they are.
Yeah. And Chinese billionaires.
Yeah, the oligarchs are definitely going to want a piece, no doubt.
And I really don't think we'll make any kind of progress until we realize that we need to explore space as humanity itself and not countries. Because I really do think if everybody collaborates.
See, that's my thing that bothers me all the time.
We'll get it done a lot quicker.
It's going to happen if everybody starts going to the moon and they start to colonize it, and they know the areas where it may contain, let's just say, vast resources. You know they're going to say, stamp, put the flag, put it in. This is our territory. What are the laws? What are the laws?
Well, it brings me back to one of my favorite quotes of Carl Sagan. He says, if you plan on going to another celestial body just to plant a flag, you already failed from the start.
Exactly.
Meaning you're going there for exploration purposes, not to create borders and plant a flag.
Exactly. It has to be a global community thing. But then again, you know that there's going to be the privatization involvement, where if they are going to be doing mining, you're going to have corporations and companies jumping off cliffs to be the one to get the exclusivity.
Sure.
That's just the way it is.
But see, I think there's already rules in place that there is no exclusivity.
There's rules in space right now for not making it a militarized platform. But you think they respect it? You know they're not.
Because all of them are going for defense purposes. So we're not putting a huge satellite up there with lasers on it for offensive purposes. We're putting them up there for defensive purposes.
How do we know they don't have satellites right now that could just be ready to be put over an area and zip out some EMP and boom, poof?
What they flew that NASA plane for 2 years up there?
The X-37B. It's still up there now. It's up there now.
So that thing's just flying around for just for the heck of it.
Yo, is that moving, or is that just him? I thought that was moving on the left, that white area. You see it on the bottom? Is that what that was?
Yeah, Aristarchus at the bottom left.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what is that? The fourth brightest thing in the solar system? Is Aristarchus crater? I think.
Yeah, they have plans for that, but
the moon, right. Then Venus.
I've seen helicopters equipped with EMP devices to knock out power in buildings.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely have craft that do that.
Is scary. That's one thing I will say that irks me a little bit, is the possibility of EMP, not just man-made EMP, but I'm talking about even solar flares. As much reliance as we have on electronics and everything, you figure we would have put a little bit more into guarding it, guarding the system from.
Oh, we're all screwed if that happens. Just think of it this way: if something were to happen, whether natural or man-made causes, where anyone loses power for let's just say, even if it was just a month, which would probably be a lot longer, you're talking about absolute chaos. We just think about how we have a storm here. Let's just say a hurricane, and the chaos that causes. Imagine losing power for months at a time. It would be.
Jared makes a good point.
What's that?
I'm here in the middle of Amish country. I'm in Amish paradise. I just go to the neighbors.
That's true.
Learn everything I need to learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they've been doing it for, they know how to do that. Who I'm really worried about is the millennials. A lot of them never grew a flower,
Dependency,
let alone their own food.
Yeah, the dependency on technology.
And it's not their fault either.
It's
it's just the way the education system has gone from, I don't even think most schools require you to learn cursive anymore.
I asked that to one of the kids this weekend when they came over for their birthday party. I don't think they do either.
Yeah. That was a big thing when we were in school.
Yeah. They took it
learned to write, you learned your alphabet, and then, what was it, grade 3 or 4, you started cursive. Yeah. And man, that was annoying.
I still once in a while write like that, just for my own.
I do my signature in cursive. But
what was it? There's a question coming in for you.
Sure.
Or for us, but I'm going to leave it for you. It's pretty easy. Why do you think most of the craters on the moon are so shadowed? I guess, why are they shadowed? It's not like like they hit a really hard surface. I always find that really strange. I guess that's what they were trying to say. So I'm guessing, why are a lot of the craters shadowed? Well, depth, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
The angle of the sun.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Height of the rim.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you're, no, I won't even say the word not to be said. I won't even go there.
I know I've gotten a lot of questions in the comment section lately on the channel about, and it's all worded the same. So you can tell this is coming from bullet points somewhere. Somebody's conspiracy video. But they all say the same thing. Isn't it weird how all the craters look the same depth? Okay. And here's my response to that. Okay. You and your buddy dig a hole. Make it 3 foot wide. You dig yours 3 feet deep and let him dig his 6 foot deep. Now go up in an airplane, look down at those holes, and have somebody tell you which one is deeper.
Right.
You can't. It's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at the moon pretty much straight on, except for the edges. But the way you can tell that they're not all the same depth is pretty much the shadow size. The deeper the hole, the bigger the shadow. Now, once again, this depends on the angle of the sun.
Exactly.
But if you have 2 craters next to one another, and the one shadow is bigger than the other one, you know which crater is deeper. And it's just because we're looking at it from a straight-on view that you can't tell how deep it is. But you can go onto the LRO site and you actually measure crater depths and all that, because that thing's been up there mapping all this stuff for years now. And there's tools on there that you can use. That you can, put a line across a crater and it'll actually show you the depths.
The thing, we were talking about this before. The thing we need to do too is we do have to explore the rest of the galaxy, the outer whatever.
Yeah,
but right here in our backyard, we need to go to Europa, and we need to go to Enceladus.
Yep.
Because there is a good possibility of finding some type of life forms there. All right. Mark is calling. If you can hear it. Do you want me to add him to the call, or?
No, I don't care.
All right, hold on.
Let's see what's so important that Mark has to interrupt.
Oh, he's streaming.
Okay.
Let's get him on.
He can't. What is it? Isn't it cloudy up there?
No, it cleared up.
Oh,
it's cold as heck, but he don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, it's windy here too.
Oh, very windy here. I would never think about putting my tripod out there with the camera. No way.
Yo, hey. What's up?
You streaming?
Huh?
Are you streaming?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm about to. I didn't start yet.
Oh.
Well, we're on P&K right now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
you have joined the party.
right, so what do you want to do?
So, yeah, everybody, Mark's not streaming yet.
I'm about to.
He's about to.
Yeah.
Now, Keith, listen to him.
Why?
See how you look how good he sounds.
Do I sound better now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess we'll
I
have
hear
to
you're
see.
not going to cut out anyway.
Well, and I have the heater on. So I think that by going to a Cat5 cable to the router directly, maybe that's better than the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. But
Absolutely.
But I don't know.
Your producer knows. Believe me, I tell everybody who does the shows on the station, please be wired. Because a lot of times when I'm dealing with other hosts that are not, they're using Wi-Fi, I get the same issue. It's either that or they're crashing their CPU.
I'm wired, man. Okay, I'm sharing my screen with both you guys so you can see what I've got up on there.
Oh, nice.
So see over here, I got, this is me and the control panel, yay, and then I got the Dome Cam 1 and Dome Cam 2. This is looking out the shutter.
And sorry for the people in the chat that can't see this.
Oh, that's true, but when I stream, they will.
All 271 of them.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, why don't you guys put your stuff up on Astro Imaging Live so that they can see both?
Yeah, I would like to do that. I just have to get my... I got to start streaming, then get my thing. I have to give it to Keith or you because I don't know how to change the address over there yet.
Yeah, I'll do it if you want. I can do it. I actually forgot our password, but one of you guys can send it to me.
All right. That I can do. Well, are you able to hear the music?
Not right now.
Yep.
In the background.
You hear that? You hear my music?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so the sharing is working. The sound sharing is working, is what I'm getting at.
Yep.
Yeah, no. It's working way better, Mark. I can tell you that right now.
Is password.
Tom.
That's great.
You know, there are people that probably do that too.
Yeah. No, dude, you're the one that gave me I have it copied and pasted in a file that I just copy it from every time. I make sure to put it there. Yeah. So I suggest you two do the same. Just make a notepad.
I think I have it already.
For you know what's sake, I'm gonna go see if I can just sign in right now on the site and see if I can do it.
It might have already been saved for you, ahead of time.
Exactly.
AstroImagingLive.com.
You know what I do though? A lot of times I go do the whole thing with the app data and wipe out the, out all. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
It's in. I'm in. Yeah, right. It was saved.
Yep.
All right. So Mark, do me a favor. Send when are you streaming yet?
I'm gonna do start right now.
Click the share
volume
tab.
going out though.
Click the share tab and send me your link in Skype, and I'll hook you up on your channel.
Okay, I brought up music, and it's a black screen right now. I'm going to fade into the moon on the remote page.
Dramatic fade.
Here it comes. Ta-da. Yeah, see?
Get her done.
That's it. So now I go to my page, and I get the stream something or other.
Just click the share tab underneath your video and send me that.
And turn off your heater.
You don't have to apparently because it doesn't. I'm wired in now.
Okay.
I want to test it.
Video.
It's clipping.
Because you guys aren't cutting out either. Where's the share tab? I don't see a share tab.
Right underneath the video when you're watching it, it's the share underneath it.
Yeah, sorry guys.
What's the matter, Keith?
Everybody's
hearing
what's
this?
going on.
Keith is the master at OBS too, so.
Yeah, I don't see a share.
Okay.
I can just right click and just say copy video URL, yes?
I can try it. I'll try to put it in.
It's right down at the bottom right.
Huh? Are you looking at my screen? Do you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, scroll all the way down. And on the bottom right of the screen.
Bottom right of the screen, where my cursor is?
This is
down.
the wrong time to be doing tech support. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Tech support.
Oh, duh. Yeah, okay. Oh, there it is. Okay.
And if anybody from the chat wants to help Mark with OBS, head on over to SkyTour live stream.
No, I don't need help with that. I just
got that down.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful.
Just updating the Astro Imaging Lives. Y'all can see both if you want to.
So, all right. So you're in this call as well, correct? Am I in the call? No, I gotta be in this call. Say go to the call and make sure I'm in there. Okay. Good, I'm there. And now I can just paste this, and there's the link. We got to do this. This has to be on.
All right, I'm going to try to grab it now. I'll let you guys know.
I hear Ma.
Yeah, that's Ma. I heard Ma.
Ma.
Exactly.
I had to mute, actually.
Okay. I'm going to fade down the music a little bit and fade up the voice. So here we go. We're coming on. Hello, everybody. This is Mark D'Antonio. Welcome to SkyTour live stream. And you'll hear Keith from P&K is also here, who's also streaming at the same time. And Bill, New York Skywatcher, is with us. So they are both on the line, although they'll probably just be quiet now just to make me look like a fool, except for Bill.
Well, we're dual streaming right now on P&K Science and
That's
on
right.
SkyTour live stream.
That's right.
An impromptu group gathering.
Yes.
Very impromptu, yeah.
We'll have another one in May.
That's right. For the Pine Bush UFO conference.
Exactly.
Yep. Which I believe you're actually managing a whole bunch of it, aren't you, Bill?
Maybe a little too much.
That's a yes, folks.
Don't take credit for managing unless you're the one actually managing, because if crap goes down, they'll be blaming you.
You don't want the credit.
I'm done. I'm toast. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully Paul will send over his telescope so you guys could stream while you're here.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm actually,
or just use Ronald's.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
The camera and all
Ronald
that.
from ERRT Radio, is going to be joining us at Pine Bush. He was here last year. He drove 20 hours to get here last year. And that's quite a feat for Ronald, because he comes from a small postage stamp town in the middle of, was it Minnesota?
Yep.
Yeah.
Little town in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's a postage stamp. You can walk around it. You can go for a walk and walk around the whole town, and then not even be winded. So, I always wanted to see what the skies look like from there. But I think that'd be beautiful. I really do. So Ronald will be there, and so will Charles, I believe. We know him as Blue Orb in some of the chats. He's also Charles Smar. And there will be a few other people there as well that we know very well, namely Paul and Keith from P&K, formerly Space Imaging, now P&K Science.
Still space imaging. Just under the umbrella of science.
Okay, all right.
No, I'm not
Keith,
correcting you. I'm letting people know.
Keith, do you want me to send me your link so I could update here too?
You should have it right there on YouTube.
Yeah,
Watching the YouTube stream.
I got it.
Mark, I'm not sure you want me on when your stream's going on, because I'm going to dumb it down some.
Keith, you know what? I don't have a problem with that.
All
right.
right.
You're one of the finest people I know, in spite of what you think of yourself. You're a really good guy. So you know what? Having both of you on my stream right now is kind of good. You know why? I want people to know. I do want people to know that it's because of you, and you, Bill, that I'm doing this at all.
Oh golly jeez.
Yeah. I wouldn't be streaming if it wasn't for you guys. You told me about the value of doing this, and now I am.
It only makes sense.
It's all because of y'all.
I agree.
Yeah, and so I'm. What can I say? I do it because of you now. I have been, and I'm happy with it. I think it's wonderful. I've got some really nice subscribers. Really happy with the subscribers.
This is a good night, since all three of us are on, to put the word out once again to the guys watching on Mark's channel and the people here at P&K. We are still looking for people to add to Astro Imaging Live, especially people that are not in the U.S. or maybe West Coast of the U.S. If you're in Germany, Australia, Poland, it doesn't matter. We're looking for people with telescopes. They don't have to be big, impressive telescopes whatsoever. It should be at least, I'd say we at least want to get a 6-inch scope, if anything.
Yeah.
But even if you wanted to do wide field and just stream that,
Actually, I just say this: even a smaller scope that's a refractor,
Yeah.
with the appropriate camera gear and guiding capability, to hang and stay with the moon, for instance, or planets or stars, is still just fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And there's no reason that you have to expect to have these like spectacular images, because it's the small refractors that actually deliver the best images of the planets and of the moon, in particular. Actually,
but let's think of why to do this, because for us at P&K, now it might be different for Mark and Bill, but for us at P&K, let's say we have somebody in the UK that has one, okay, and Paul's in Miami. If something passes the moon and the scope in the UK catches it and Paul's scope catches it, that tells us that object was close to the moon. It tells us that it's not local to our local areas. So if both of those scopes catch it, it's just another way of confirming. Now, we can do this a certain way now with Mark being in Connecticut and Paul being in Miami, but it'd be nice to start using the width of the world instead of the north and south. So we're looking for people, and if you want to do it, we will hook you up on Astro Imaging Live. We'll post you there.
And by the way, both of you are now updated and ready on astroimaginglive.com.
You the man, Bill.
Fantastico.
And I will send.
Yes, we also have to make it clear. Sorry, also have to make it clear that Astro Imaging Live was actually something that belonged to Bill Skywatcher, and he graciously allowed Keith and I to sort of glom onto it with him. So that was very nice of him. So before that gets lost in translation, I've never forgotten.
Thanks for letting me glom. And I
I hate that word, by the way, glom.
Well, you used it.
What is?
But
I did. I hate
that. The payment for the site's due this up too soon, I believe, too. I got to send you that, Bill. Don't let me forget.
And don't let me forget. I think I forgot last time. I think I'm already owe you one.
Yeah, June, we're up again.
June, we're up again. Well, we'll get her done.
But also, I just want to say this to everyone that's listening. During the Pine Bush UFO Fair, Mark is going to be doing a presentation, and Keith and I are going to be setting up the equipment so you'll be able to see it live.
Not hopefully only with video, but with sound too.
Yes. You'll be able to see actually everyone. You're going to see Travis Walton. You're going to see Mark D'Antonio. You're going to see Tom Reed, Cheryl Costa, and Peter Robbins. I'm planning to stream everyone. And Keith will be definitely my partner working and getting it all set up so you guys can see the conference live.
I'm going to like that. That's going to be great.
By the way, the people on P&K got lucky. Paul decided to whip out the 9-inch giggity. So we are getting a little bit of a contrast up there. So he did whip out one of the big scopes, at least for a little bit. So it is on screen right now. I'm not sure how long he's going to go with it because it's not exactly the best air right now. But there you go. Just for you guys. And I was looking over at Mark's. I don't have him on a very big screen, but it looks like you're on the moon as well right now. So
I am, because it's the pre-super moon.
Are you using a filter?
I do have a filter, yes.
Okay.
Filter.
Yep, I do have a filter.
Bill, do you have a confirmed list for Pine Bush?
As far as
of speakers?
That's them, the ones I just said.
Oh, okay. So they are confirmed, 100% confirmed.
100% confirmed.
Nice.
And Mark will be here at the house, as well as Tom Reed and who's the other person? Peter Robbins will be staying here.
Peter Robbins.
He's a great guy. What a gentleman. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter's one of my favorite people, without a doubt.
He's also going to be emceeing the event.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
Are they having the talks in the same building they had last year?
I'm actually going there tomorrow because there's another area that she wants me to look at instead of using the courtroom, which is kind of small and limited.
Right.
We'd like to have a larger room and see what we can do with that and set up. The thing is, I need to have a router in order to stream live. I have to have access somewhere near a router where I can run my 100-foot cable.
Yeah, or be able to plug into somebody's,
exactly
modem.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's either that or I record it and then upload it at a later date. But I would really like to do this
But
live.
I'm saying, if we're getting the microphones and everything, it'd be so good to put on like a good live, of the talks. I thought it'd be.
The thing is, a lot of these conferences, and I'm being honest, they do their own video so they can upload it at a later date and
Yes, they do.
monetize it, to the best of their ability for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes, they do.
Pine Bush is different. When they're not really looking for the money part. They have to, of course, make ends meet, but it's more about giving this access to the public. Because what do we charge at the door? For those 5 speakers, we charge $10. Where else are you going to see a Mark D'Antoni or Travis Walton, Cheryl Costa, Tom Reed, and Peter Robbins for $10?
And they all get an hour, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's actually gonna be a lot of there's actually a big bang for the buck there,
Absolutely.
without a doubt.
And I'm going to be honest again. Sadly, because we're a small town, a lot of the speakers are doing a self-sacrifice because they're not necessarily getting paid what they normally would get paid at other.
This is one of those events that they can come, just to show how much they are into the subject and into the community as a whole.
Yes.
They're there for themselves mostly, not really there to make money. They're there to explore and talk to people just as much as everybody else is.
Mhm.
That's very true.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
Mark,
gonna be
no big crowds at the tent. Make them wait to the talk.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
What are you talking about?
You have a habit
Yeah.
of making people just conglomerate around you.
Oh no! It's
Yeah. You had like 4 people deep in the outside standing. I was like, wow. A big crowd.
That's cool.
This is the teaser for the
You know what you should do? You should offer $1 discount tickets at that thing for the tent. Like when you guys just come out and say a couple words, like for 5 minutes or so. Offer $9 discount tickets then and see how many you sell before the actual talk.
You think a buck will make a difference?
You never know.
That's
If there's
interesting.
5 people going, you say $5.
Yeah, I just got to tell you, Laura's asking, where is this? And I'm not sure if she's asking, where is this that we're talking? Bill, New York Skywatcher is in Newburgh, New York. Keith is in Pennsylvania. I'm in Connecticut. And she's watching on SkyTour live stream. You're watching our supermoon, our pre-supermoon on SkyTour live stream. And Bill and Keith, they happen to have a call because we're actually all on P&K Science at the same time as SkyTour live stream. It's sort of a dual channel right now.
Yeah.
We were having some pretty deep conversations about time before you came in, Mark.
Oh, yes, don't even go there. No, I'm kidding. Oh, Laura, I think the question was Pine Bush, Laura. That's what Pine Bush is, the conference we're talking about, and that's in upstate New York. Actually, it's west of Newburgh, New York.
Yeah, it's about a half hour west of my location.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I'm
Yeah,
headed to Bill's house the 15th or 14th.
That's another thing. If Paul brings his equipment, or maybe you guys bring the cameras and we use Ronald's telescope, they will be streaming, hopefully, weather permitting, from here on P&K and simulcast on SkyTour live stream. And what I'm going to do on my channel, I'm going to set up a camera of everybody outside, and you'll get the behind the scenes with a mic, and you'll be able to see what's going on here
It's
in
kinda
real
like
time.
we've done the last couple years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good. I like that.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to convince Paul to fly. That way he doesn't have to drive that whole way. And if Ronald's bringing his scope, it'd be even better.
He could just simply
That way
bring
he
the
doesn't have
cameras.
to pack all that stuff.
He can, right?
What's that?
He can bring the camera equipment and everything else he needs.
Yeah.
Put it onto Ronald's telescope.
Yep.
That would make things a lot easier because Ronald's definitely bringing it. He's so excited, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's been
it's
looking
like,
at them scopes for a while, trying to figure out which one to get. I
yeah,
guess he finally settled on one. Now we just need to teach him how to use it. And
I don't know
what
what-
Ronald's going to do. He's going to want to stream like this, and I think he needs to get used to actually using the scope and everything first.
He's going to have to. He has to learn how.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Without that.
everybody's. That's one thing I suggest to anybody that likes this or wants to start doing it themselves. Take 2-3 months and just get to know the telescope, get to learn how to align, get the feeling that you can use the control without really looking at it all that much, with the movement and all that stuff, then worry about, them putting it live and streaming it.
And what
important,
to both of you, this question goes.
Oh, no, I'm scared.
What is the importance of the temper variations when you're taking a telescope from one temp to another? In other words, if it's a whole night like this tonight, what is the harm that you could possibly do to the telescope going into a warmer area?
Well, I can tell you, and I'll take part of that, Keith, if you got something to say.
Go for
it. Okay. Here's what the problem is: the telescope can handle the warm and cold, but the issue is it has to acclimate. You have to give it time to acclimate, and they acclimate differently in different temperatures. And also, as the temperature changes during the night, your focus changes. Okay, and you have to refocus your telescope. I have it all tied in. If you're looking at my screen, I have it all tied in with my telescope control system down here. I have focus capability down here in mine. On my screen, you can actually see the telescope control system, and so I have all that. So I actually will focus during the night, and I have a special mode that I go into that's a really high-end mode. It actually makes whatever you're looking at fuzzy, and it's a focusing thing. Now, I also have another thing too, and it's a mask that goes over the end of the telescope, and that mask is used for doing critical focus, and it's really, really easy to do it. It's called a Batinoff mask, and I'm sure that some of the people out there that are astronomically inclined know about it. So it's pretty cool.
Another thing I want to point out is humidity and dew, because they seem to be a big hamper, especially where Paul is down there. If you have a humid air, you're going to have to put up with dew getting onto the lenses. There is a couple ways you can handle that. Some recommend some ways, others recommend others. The best is just to read up and find a way to deal with it the best way that you want to.
Speaking of that, Mark, did you get a dew heater, a band for yours?
Yeah, and I was going to say, we solved the problem permanently by installing a permanent band around the telescope that will always heat up as soon as the telescope turns on. And this is year-round. So this means that we no longer have the issue. Our telescopes would have in the past been covered with moisture. And if you accidentally breathe on it, you're done for the night. So we had to figure out a way to get around that. But I'm no longer in the dome now when the telescope's operating. But still, it's really important to keep the dew off the telescope and the really optics.
How you actually are able, you have your whole remote system set up now where you're able to be comfortable instead of freezing your piggies off out there in the.
Yeah, and that's the final step is to actually have the dome control put in where I can actually move the dome. And the only reason I've been kind of dragging my feet on that is because I suspect I'm going to convert to a roll-off roof approach, not here in Connecticut. That's going to be in Arizona. And there I'll just buy a pre-built shed, cut the roof off, and turn it into a roll-off roof observatory. And that's the best way because it'll already be built. I can put in insulation. I could even put in heat and air conditioning in the building. Because you can put it in one section of the building, and then the other section has the telescope that's open. Especially if it's a big enough facility. And if I can do it right, I want to put in multiple telescope piers so that we can put telescopes on them for other organizations, other people that want to become part of it.
And we're going to drop their scope on the pier and join the party.
That's right. It'll be a group, and you'll have remote access as well.
Nice.
Same way. And so there'll be a computer for each telescope. So that computer can get controlled long distance, just like any other.
Sweet.
And you'll be using the same bandwidth for the internet. So we're going to be looking at managing that part of it when we get down to it. But
that's probably going to be your toughest part.
It will. But you know what? I think we're going to have probably to start with. We'll have 4 piers. One for our scopes, and then 3 that are used for anyone else who wants to add their instruments to the building.
Awesome. Bill, when do you plan on streaming next?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
When
Is there like
Bill-
a target date that you're going for any like meteor showers or anything?
Or target year?
Well, the next one I believe is in April.
Oh, really?
Like the next, I don't want to say major because it's not, but the next known.
So you're not
meteor
going to
shower.
get giddy and do any kind of just regular sky watches or anything?
To be honest, and I spoke with Mark about this earlier, I'm in the process of getting all the materials to build an 8x12 deck at the front door of my house. So I'm like, my mind is concentrated on getting that before you guys come. I want that deck done.
At the front door.
Yeah, you know the one that you almost fell through?
Oh.
And then I rebuilt it.
Yeah.
Solid. But, well, I'm tearing all that out and I'm making a 8x12 deck out there.
Oh, that's cool.
So everybody could hang out on that in the front yard.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's fun.
Because
I'd actually help you out on that if I can find some free time. Well, then again, I'm not going to Tennessee for Mark, so
Yeah,
I'll
we're
take
gonna
that
do
time
that.
and come up to Bill's house and help build a deck.
you know something? I'm not. You better be careful if you're joking because I could really seriously use some help.
Well, that would be like next week. So I don't know if you're ready.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking like April.
No, I probably wouldn't be able to do it that close.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Are you gonna be able to? You think you'll be able to do Tennessee in March, Keith?
Yeah, it's a good possibility. I was looking at the schedule and things that are. See, I got to base it on like when furniture's coming in because Amish furniture takes about 10 weeks to build. So I had to go back 10 weeks and see what the orders were and see what all's coming in, whether I can leave or not. Because I don't want to put people's. They've been waiting 10 weeks for their furniture. I don't want
Can you guys do this during the weekday so I can take a trip? Or at least maybe.
Well, we are. Well, we're doing. Well, see, here's the thing. I plan on leaving here on a Saturday, getting to Mark on a Saturday night, and then doing the full drive Sunday.
Wait. So
from
you're going to
Connecticut.
leave from the point of Mark's house?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but that's okay, Bill. So you just come out here and leave your car here.
Or we can
Well,
just pick them up on the
right.
way down through.
Well, it's
Sunday.
not. Is Newburgh on the way?
Well,
That's
no.
right, because he's flying back.
You know
Mark's
what you would have to
fine.
do, Keith? You would have to pick me up and then go to Mark's because I got to leave the car here with Mom.
Oh, yeah. That means I have to bring you all the way back
That
up,
means-
too.
But you know what, Bill? That means you should drive to Keithstown in Pennsylvania, and leave from there with him.
To come back up?
Yeah, because of the fact that then you'll have your car there when he goes back out to his house. Then you can drive home from there.
Yeah, but the point is leaving the car here with Mom so she has the car vehicle in front of the house.
We could figure
bring
something
her
out.
Keys. Bring her the keys and tell her to just like watch everything.
By
for a
far,
while.
the easiest way would be for me to pick you up either Saturday on the way up to Mark's or Sunday on the way down through. And then, because we have the extra days, I don't mind taking you back up home then. But we wouldn't be getting back to Wednesday or Thursday then.
Okay, so here, I just spoke to Ronald through messaging, and he's got a Nexstar Evolution HD Edge 8-inch.
Okay, cool. I think Paul has that one as well.
Okay, so that's a telescope that has a go-to function. That's good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good
So you
scope.
guys, if you want to just use his when you're here instead of him bringing
Ronald
that
spent some money.
fly.
Yeah.
That's a good
Ronald.
scope, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ronald's doing something else. Ronald's a crazy guy. He's got this new toy, man, and I love it.
Can you imagine
I
us
think,
three on a road trip?
Yeah, I think he found a gold stack or something because he's been buying desktops and laptops and telescopes and all kinds of goodies. I'm like,
Oh, man.
what's going on? He hit the lotto?
Yeah. Anyway, what's up, Ron? You hold
Anyway,
out on us, man? We'll know, because if he shows up to your house with like 15 gallons of Coca-Cola, we'll know something's up.
Yeah, with your tea.
He's smiling right now. I can hear it through the wires
I don't
here.
even think he's here. Is he?
I think Mark's.
He's in my chat.
Oh, he's in Mark's chat.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
good.
he's hearing you.
Very good.
This is actually cool to be doing a dual audio stream on both channels, I think.
Yeah. And forgive me if I can't see Mark's chat, but I have way too many windows open. at
That's
the
all
moment.
right. Yeah,
And by the way,
Ronald says it's an 8-inch. Yeah, an 8-inch
do
telescope.
you agree with me? He sounds awesome now?
Yeah, he hasn't cut out once.
Not once.
Oh, that's
Which I didn't want to
fantastic.
tell him last night, but it was driving me up a wall.
Look, I figured. Oh, thanks. My Wi-Fi apparently is overloaded at times.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when I checked the Wi-Fi, I found that the antenna can fall right off, and that's kind of a big problem.
Really?
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm no longer going to use that. And that'll increase my bandwidth and throughput on the streams too, because it won't have to do these retries. And it's the retries, the failed packets that are getting sent that fail in the Wi-Fi that I think is causing the problems. And it's certainly not, it's certainly not causing the problems anymore.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you find any of the fiberglass stuff you were looking for today?
No, I did find some people, and I got actually a guy in town. I have a Navy project to do, and it requires building a fiberglass boat hull. And so I'm going to find someone that can work with me on it that's more tuned to working with epoxy fiberglass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I've got a boogie. I've got to do Jimmy Church's show.
Oh, so what?
I got to go. I got to make sure that thing is up and running. Or
Well, you can just put it on mute and then come jump back in when you're sure you're okay.
My audio is going to bleed through because I've got to actually hear his show and make sure it's up and running audio.
I think he's ditching us, Mark.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
No problem,
That's
Bill.
okay. I was supposed to
Yeah,
stop
we knew this
and
from the
see
beginning.
today, and I didn't.
Well, let me ask you this question: how long are you both planning to stream? Oh,
I have
Mark,
no
you
idea.
got a nice image too.
Truthfully,
Both
because
you
of
got-
the clouds, refuse to cooperate. Well, they're. Let's see what Paul just texted me, actually. He says it's trying to clear from the northeast.
Oh, you saying it's not clear down there now?
No, we got clouds going across the surface. We're doing a wide field object watch anyway, so it's really
Okay.
the clouds really aren't that bad. They're kind of see through it. Very rarely do they block the whole thing. But I'll tell you what, Bill, we'll let you go. That way you can go get your stuff done. If you want to come back on and we're still running, feel free. Just come back
I'm
on.
gonna you
come
guys
back in.
up. Yeah. All right. I'll
Okay.
message you if I can come back. Now, just do me a favor. You guys hang up on me just so I don't accidentally hang up on both of you.
Well, you can't
Well-
hang up on me. I started the call.
Did you start it? You sure about
I
that?
started this call, but you called Mark. So you should be able to leave if you threw him into this call. Try it. If not, I'll just call Mark.
All right, gentlemen. Have a great stream.
All
And
right.
good night to everyone that's watching and listening. And maybe I'll be back. If not, I will talk to you gentlemen soon.
And once again, that's Bill, New York Skywatcher. You can check him
That's
out
right.
on YouTube.
Good night, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bill.
See you.
Bye.
Let's see.
I'm still here,
No, I'm still here.
and you're still here. Yay! Well, at least we're both coming across on my stream,
Yeah. And your music's still here.
and I got my music here, which I'm not gonna. Oh! I just saw a cloud pass in front
Good
of my.
night, Jared Bailey from the P&K chat. Yeah, sorry I didn't get the shout outs yet for anybody that's in there.
We should cross promote too. We should say, look, the P&K Science, P&K Space Imaging, great place to go and subscribe to. Want to see the moon? Sky to a live stream. We'll look at the moon occasionally, and when we have a full moon, well, this is what we can view, because otherwise, we can go other places even right now and check stuff out. But the moon is the thing right now because it's the supermoon. One of the supermoons in 2019. And what is a supermoon? That's when the moon's closest approach, its perigee as it's called, manages to align with the new moon. Now, the moon has a slightly elliptical orbit, so sometimes it's closer to us and sometimes it's farther. But when that closest approach is at the same time as the full moon, we call it a supermoon because it is larger in the sky by a slight amount.
You said apogee, correct?
No, perigee.
Perigee. Apogee is the farthest away.
Yeah, think apogee away, being with A.
Apogee away.
There you go. So perigee is when it's close, and apogee is when it's farther away.
Yeah, plus the full moon makes it kind of hard on the stuff that you normally do.
Sure, but I could still take a photo right now and show stars around the moon, but it would be pretty blown out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I can try it. I can put the moon down below here, and
What kind of filter are you using for the moon?
right now I'm using an actual glass filter that's in the telescope right now. Is a high contrast filter that's used to remove sodium vapor lamp light pollution. So it's a light pollution filter, high contrast.
Oh.
And that actually works very well.
I am hoping for objects passing the moon, and I'm hoping for both of us to catch it. How about that?
That's exactly right. I'm blowing this out right now just to see what I can see. I'm going to take a quick photo and then we'll go over and see what it looks like in there, in here, and let's see what we got. Okay, the noise cancellation's taking place here. You can see that going on.
I should
we
actually
don't
put
see any
your
stars.
thing in a little box so people can see it at least.
Yeah, how do I do that? I can do that too. Look, it looks like I'm looking into a spotlight. Well, I am this month.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call overexposure.
That's
correct. You'll be able to
correct.
see the stars in the background if you really back out.
And even now, we can't
That is
see them
tough.
very well. I have to move the moon farther out. But, you know, that's why you don't see stars in the astronaut photography of the moon, because in order to shoot the moon, which is bright, in order to shoot the moon to look normal and have good contrast so you can see what you're looking at, you unfortunately have to shoot it at a lower exposure, and that lower exposure will not capture the stars. Just won't.
No.
No way, Jose.
Man, it's been so quiet. Like last year at this time in February, that we were getting so many objects, whether it be satellites, space junk, whatever, crossing our field of view. And lately, it's just been nothing. Not even birds. You know, and you figure you'd be loaded with birds down in Miami.
Right. Well, okay, that's not so surprising to me, because as the moon's orbit, does its thing, it's possible that the time of rising for the moon, as it changes through the course of a month, it doesn't coincide with, say, an evening migratory pattern of birds, or when birds are flying to roost somewhere. It's all kind of a very specific set of timings, I think, that we're stuck with here. But satellites should, you would think they should be passing in front of the moon, but again, the moon's orbit is elevated a little bit from the ecliptic, that is the plane of the solar system. And the plane of the solar system is in part how some of these satellites are aligned. We many times see an east-west moving satellite, or west-east moving satellite, crossing your moon, okay? But we don't see that. We don't see that lately, probably because the moon is at a particular elevation where it's not conducive to that. I'm not sure about that.
You've learned and grown at your company.
Sorry.
Right.
In your job.
That's you.
I was trying to put your video up there.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting it. I just got to make sure to turn this on. There we go. So that should come up. And then I got to go in here and interact, and then I just turn down, make sure to turn muted. There we go.
Yeah.
Now we're good.
D. Smith said she loves my chat here in Skype to live stream, and then she has a message for you. She I think it's a she, I'm not sure, says that yours has gotten insane since the lunar eclipse, and please don't take offense. I'm sure you...
No, it happens. I mean, it happens after every big event that we do. When we get a lot of viewers, we get a surge in subscribers and, whatnot. And then usually once they figure out that we're not blowing smoke up there, about every little thing passing as a UFO or claiming that there's buildings all over the place, most of the really hard conspiracy theorists will disappear. But the people that actually want to hang around for the actual astronomy and actually help finding stuff, they're the ones that usually stay. So it always happens.
I get that.
But yeah, that night of the eclipse, we just decided to let chat go crazy because there was really no way to moderate it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And dude, I had a 90-second slow chat on.
Oh,
that
wow.
means people weren't or only allowed to post one message every 90 seconds, and it was still flying by. I mean, we had 68,000 people watching at one time. It was just insane. And
Well, I mean,
I
had 5,000 at one time, which was pretty good for a stream that people don't know as well as they know P&K imaging and P&K space imaging and P&K science.
Why is your moon blue again?
It's blue?
Yeah, it's like a teal.
Oh, well, yeah, that's probably a little exaggeration, but in the color that I've induced, probably because of the filter. I can alter that, and I will actually.
To tell you the truth, I didn't really notice it until I actually saw it on my screen with our moon next to it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, why is that so blue looking?
Yeah. It's a little better now.
I'm not sure. I'm waiting for it to update. I got
Well,
it on,
I'm sharing the screen, so you shouldn't have to worry about it.
I'm not viewing your screen.
Oh, well,
Just
then
'cause
I'll
I got
stop
too much
here.
to view in front of me already. I have
Well,
you
I'll
up in a
stop
little
here.
box, a little chat box on Skype.
Okay.
But I can basically see what you're doing, but not like details.
Okay. So I'll stop sharing then?
Yeah, you can stop sharing because I'm just watching your YouTube feed actually that I have.
Great.
So everybody, that's Mark's channel down the bottom left of the screen. So you can see what
Nice.
he's doing, what he's talking about.
I'm that
Totally
little
does.
tiny window within the tiny window waving at you.
Yeah, and it might be it might not sync up completely because he's running a delay, from what you're hearing the audio live here at P&K compared to what he's doing on there. So there might be a little time differential, but you'll get the gist of it.
Yeah.
And if you want to see it, of course, jump on over to Mark's channel and you can listen there as well. Either
Sure.
or. And let's see. I'm gonna do a P&K shout out list for the active participants, and then you can do yours. How about that?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right. So, as active participants in the chat, I see Angel and Big B and Cody, Dapple, of course, Dee Dee the Sniper, George Archer, Imran, Jimmy Jam, John Pierre, Liam, Linda, Luthier, M. Lang, Mark Plott, Nancy W., Paul Seal, Sandman, Steve, Tania, Ted Bronson, and Twin Crow 747. That's who I have as active participants now. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more than that, but those are the ones that YouTube are listing for me in the active participant list.
Yeah,
And
that's
hello,
the weird
Charles
thing.
Smart.
The active participant list seems to be far less than people that are actually writing stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I could say hello to Digit Films, Tom Pretty, Zarix, D. Smith, Carolina Sky Astronomy, Jello, of course, is here. Keisha Fowler, Toxic Waste, Tom D. Pretty, Papa Tom, and Laura Newbird, of course. And let's see, I've got ERRT Radio. That's Ronald, folks. And we got Charles Smar and Rockstar. And, we've got a few more than that. I'm trying to find them. Anyway, that's the ones that are in Mark the Shark. So, I mean, we've got folks listed that, and watching me, watching you.
And by the way, people, ERRT Radio. I'm pretty sure somebody can post a link to that. The guy that was just with us, Bill New York Skywatcher, has a radio show on there where he's dumping a lot of rock and roll and metal stuff. And, of course, Amanda Curran, who is Mark's co-host on
Sky Tour live stream and Sky
Why am I
Tour.
thinking Astro Imaging? I got that stuck in my head now. On Sky Tour Radio on KGRA, also has a radio show on there where she jumps on there sometimes. So if you want to check it out, I'm sure one of the mods can post a link to it, to ERRT Radio. It's an online radio station. He's just starting out with it, but it's starting to get pretty good. So check it out if you get a chance.
Yep. Yeah, as Ronald says, she does 3 shows up there. He's saying that in my chat.
Very good.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yep. And I think Bill does the Midnight Metal Madness. Is that what it's called?
Midnight Madness, whether
Good
it's
stuff.
madness in metal or whatever, I think it's Bill.
Mm-hmm.
That's Bill. That's fine, though. He's having fun up there too.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about. So if you
Well,
guys like that kind of thing, jump on over and check out ERRT, ERT Radio.
Yep.
Man, the clouds just will not give up in Miami.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
to the
they're
folks
trying
listening,
to, but they just keep forming.
folks listening on P&K Science, you can come view the moon on our stream if you like. Keith's with me anyway, so we kind of have half of P&K with us over here. And that's Sky Tour live stream with Mark D'Antonio on YouTube. Come on over and join, subscribe, pop back and forth, go to astroimaginglive.com, and you can see, actually tonight, the 2 of our streams. I don't think Bill's streaming right now. And the 2 of our streams are live up there, and you can pop back and forth between the 2. The only difference is that when you go to one and you back out, you go to the other, you don't see the chat from the other one. You only see the chat for the one you're in.
Yeah, unless you pop out the chat from the other one. You can do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can do pop out of the chat, yeah.
I do want to mention, too, I think Mark has this set up the same way, but I'm not positive. On your screen right now, you will see the zones. You see zone 1 through zone 6. Just imagine that there's 6 equal boxes on screen. That's in case something does come across like a satellite or a UAP or UFO, whatever. You can tell what zone it's in. And then, of course, use the top left clock, the very top left of screen there, to timestamp it and put it in the chat, because all timestamps then get reviewed
and it's
later,
the same,
just to be sure.
There's our clock up there. And zone 1 is here, zone 2 is here, zone 3 is here, 4, 5, and 6. All right, and we do the same type of thing. I actually had a graphic for that, and it's actually on another drive right now, and I haven't brought it over, but I'll just make a new one.
No biggie.
No, it's not a biggie.
Just remember 1 through 3 horizontal, and then 4 through 6 on the bottom horizontal. Yep. Equal boxes. And we have had nights where stuff just comes ripping past.
Hey.
So let's hope. Let's keep the fingers crossed. I'm not exactly sure how long we'll be going for tonight, because I know these clouds are eventually going to start making Paul's blood boil. But these are the kind of good nights that he likes, because he can pretty much, since he has aligned very well, he can pretty much just kick back on the couch and watch, because the tracking is done. So it's just tracking along with the moon.
Yeah. That's like this. That's here's the thing, folks, for all of you listening on P&K and on SkyTrail Livestream. We actually took the time to set up the equipment right, so that we make it kind of look easy. All right. It's not the simplest thing to just go ahead and point a camera at the moon and broadcast it to the world. There's actually hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars tied up in that prospect. So we're doing this because we want to be able to bring this to you. I sound like a public radio, ad campaign. That's terrible. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. Yeah. I'm just saying that we're just trying to point out this is our passion, and this is what we do, and we do it every day of the week when it's clear, and we do it because we want to do it.
Yeah. And Paul, I mean, he's the dude. Once again, this has to be said, because we would be doing this whether 2 or 3 people were watching with us or 1 million people. It doesn't really matter, because we have a goal in mind of what we wanted to do, and it's great that so many people wanted to join us and help us watch for stuff, and we're searching for evidence.
That's right.
And we need it to be scientific evidence, stuff that can stand up to test.
Yeah, that's right.
And the only way to do it is to put in the work and put in the hours. A lot of things on YouTube is just highlight reels. I get a lot of comments and things like, "Can't you just show us when the UFO happened?" Most of those people don't know. You can just go to the end of the video and look at the timestamps. But I'm not going to tell them that, because all of us put in the work to sit here and watch it for 4 hours.
Yeah, I know. When the meteor struck the moon, we caught it, and I actually put it right in the title later on to show where people could just go.
Something major like that. But we're not going to sit here and stream for 4 hours and then go and every little thing that crossed the moon, put it into a video. Especially when we have the timestamps marked on stream. Like, not everything has to be isolated ones. The ones that get isolated are the interesting ones. The ones that really don't have an explanation and really need to be further looked into. And there is a playlist of those on the P&K channel. If anybody wants to see them, there is a UFO UAP playlist. Some of them have been identified by now by cross-referencing satellite data. Others are still up in the air. So.
Or is asking me on the stream, on my stream, if Zone 3 is where the meteor hit, and that's exactly what it was. No, Zone 4, actually.
Yeah. Zone 4.
Sorry, Lauren. Zone 4. It's Zone 4 where the meteor struck.
I would at least like the clouds to clear out just enough where I can put the color back into the moon.
Yeah.
But just not gonna, because if not, then we're gonna start dealing with aberration and everything because it's not exactly the best scope tonight. The sharpest one, I should say.
I've actually got wind tonight,
Yeah, it's windy here in PA too.
Yeah, I'm seeing ripples. I'm looking for a lunar wave. I want to see a lunar wave. That is when a jet passes by and that superheated air, which stays warm for several minutes,
Yeah.
and then the contrail, or if it's no contrail, it passes in front of the moon, and you actually see this ripple across the moon.
We've
I'd
caught
like
a
to
couple of
record
those.
one. What's that?
We caught those a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, I'll tell you, people get mad when you tell them that you know the reason behind it.
Well, I know that, and it's like when I have questions with people that, and I don't believe that you and I both have to deal with this. People that say the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
It's like, look at, man, this is a century where we no longer have to worry about such things, And
Yeah,
I don't.
and I wouldn't mind it if people just came in and say, "Hey, here's the difference in comments. Hey, I believe that the Earth is flat, and blah blah blah, and here's the reason why."
Yes.
It hardly ever goes like that. Flat earthers have this habit of being so obnoxious that they'll either come in and go, "It's flat, you all are morons, keep being NASA shills," or they'll be like, "How stupid can you be to not notice that it's flat? The moon's flat, like the Earth is flat." It's never a good conversation. It's just total obnoxious, and I'm to the point now where it's like I just feel bad.
Yeah. I know the answer. You don't. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for playing. So long.
Yeah. It's like almost embarrassing.
It is.
I mean, it's 2019. 2019, and we're sitting here talking about people that believe the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
No matter how much evidence, because they don't believe the evidence, because the evidence came from science, and they say the science is flawed. So you might as well be talking to a wall.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Look at all. What do you got? A disco moon going on?
Yeah, well, I'm just I'm playing with some colors. I'm trying to illustrate. I'm just playing with the colors. Yeah.
Is that blue and a green and a red?
Yeah, I mean I can actually do some really cool stuff. No, I'm trying to get this neutral gray, slightly blue, and I'm okay with that.
So you can't get it like to its normal.
Oh no, I can do that. I can
okay.
actually, I can bring out the colors. Actually, I was doing it before. I was bringing out the colors. I can try and do that.
Mystic Wolf in my chat says my pizza was flat, but at the same time round. That actually makes sense.
That's actually a good point. It's a brilliant observation.
Yeah.
Brilliant observation.
Steve Chalmers says boring. Bye bye.
Well, you're showing a moon. Actually, no, you're not. You're showing a black screen.
Well, maybe he wants a disco party. I don't know.
Well, then, okay, Steve, come on over here and we'll show you a disco party. Of course, you're gonna see that later because.
No, they see it on screen.
No, you hear me do that, and you won't see what I did for that until later. And you're not listening to the volume. You're hearing me live, so you're not getting the delay. The delay, folks, hear it all coming in right.
It's all confusing.
It's very much
the time delays on everything. So, are you running a low what do you call that? Latency?
I believe
Or are you running a long latency, like the 30-second one? I try to keep this one at about 10 seconds, which is like medium. That way, they don't have to put up with a lot of buffering or like that.
Okay.
And it usually works out pretty good, but I don't know with how much you say you're running with a lot of programs that you're running on there, you might be on a 30-second, but I'm not sure.
No, I've only got about 362 programs running in the background.
The Swede says, "Yo, homies," and we say, "Yo, Swedes." Oh.
I want to say hi to Cosmic Lettuce in my chat. Hey there. And kind of curious, how you doing? He's here too.
Name of the year.
And to mine, hi Dee Dee. Dee Dee has joined us. Wanted to say hi to them too. That's good. We have a lot of people watching, a lot of people having fun. I'm really happy that folks like to look at the science, even if it's somewhat, the same.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I'm just hoping something passes and we both catch it. Fingers crossed.
That's why we've got this up right now. I'm leaving us on this wide angle view so that if something passes, here's what we can do with that, guys. If we capture something passing the full moon, we can see where it passes on the moon and compare that where it passes where Paul sees it down in Florida. We are almost exactly from Paul. We're about 1,085 miles away from Paul. And I know that actually because I did the calculation earlier today. And when something crosses and enters the field for us, we won't see it, of course, till it enters the moon's brightness, because then it gets silhouetted. And when that happens, we can time the point of entry on our moon image with Paul's. And that can tell us, literally, that can prove the Earth is round, incidentally, but that's a whole other thing. We can actually then take the timing of it crossing the moon, and I've got some clouds that are passing, but they're momentary, and we can figure out a lot of things about the satellite. We can actually figure out how high it is. Basically, it's a triangulated approach, and based on the time that it takes to cross the moon, all right, Paul and I can use our data to calculate the altitude and the speed of the satellite. And I have a program I wrote where I can actually calculate the timing that it takes to cross the moon, and from that calculate the speed and orbit, the altitude that the satellite's at. So we can actually use this to compare to see how close the numbers align. They should be very close.
Yeah.
From two totally different points of view, calculate the altitude of a satellite. I mean, I taught people how to do this. This is one of the things I taught. We would observe the moon, and we would actually take crater walls, for instance, calculate the depth of craters. We'd never use the full moon, okay, but we'd have to know the elevation of the sun on the moon at that time. And luckily for us, that's something that's publishable, and you can look that up.
I just thought about something, too. Not only us, but I know Chris from Take Back Space was streaming earlier. I'm not sure if he still is, but that would add a third scope into the mix if something were to cross.
Oh, yeah.
Which would be awesome.
That'd be wonderful.
If nobody has checked out Take Back Space, definitely want to check that channel out. It's Chris over there. He likes to play his guitar and sing some songs while he's got his telescopes pointed at the moon. Really different channel, really neat.
Cool.
Dapple was telling me that TBS is off now, but he was on earlier, I think, for a couple hours at least.
TBS? TBS?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know who I don't have TBS. I don't know TBS.
Oh, you never talk with Take Back Space?
Oh, Take Back Space. Duh. Sorry.
Yep.
I am just a little bit slow sometimes.
We also have Astronomy Live, which I don't think he does a lot of moon streams and whatnot. He does a lot of like the satellite tracking and object tracking, which the guy is so good at, and he's so good at explaining it too. If you haven't checked out Astronomy Live's channel, he writes his own programs. He has a tracking program that he got completed, where it's almost like a lock-on program for something that passes. It'll actually track it.
Yeah.
It's just the guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I want to include it. I'm just not sure he's written it for the telescope protocol that we're using, but that's the only holdup.
Ask him.
I shall do that.
Yeah. I sent you his contact info, I believe.
Maybe, but you might have to do it again.
All right. I will do it again.
Keith is doing it again, folks.
I will do it again.
Awesome.
Infowars.com, prisonplanet.tv.
Oh, no. Here we go. For those who don't know, there was a night we were streaming, and Keith was on, and I think it was on your stream.
Yeah.
And he would just go off on this Alex Jones thing where he would imitate Alex Jones, and it was just becoming really, really obnoxious. and Keith's numbers were dropping off. People were saying, "I'm tired of you. I hate you," and they were leaving his stream. Till they realized it wasn't Alex Jones.
I got so many emails saying I had to do that character more often. It's amazing. I never received emails about just doing an impression. I got like 5 to 6. Like, that Alex Jones was cracking me up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Before my surgery, I used to have both my vocal cords. Now I only have one. And I actually used to do over 80 impressions of everything from cartoon characters to actors and actresses, believe it or not. And after the surgery, I got down to like 10 because that second vocal cord was so required for doing some of these vocalizations.
Yeah.
So I got, that's okay. I can do Barry White now. I could never do Barry White before.
I never do impressions of people, but that was, I found him so funny. Just how he would fit those ads in for his tchotchkes and his supplements.
Yeah.
Like, just out of the blue. And he would do it so fast and so smooth. And, I just found it hilarious. I was like, I got to do that.
Yeah. The guy
is a salesman at heart. You got to give him that.
Oh, I give him that. I wish I had his numbers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's man. He is a salesman.
Yeah. He sold himself before he sold anything else.
Yep.
Oh no, the moon is getting covered.
Uh-oh. Now we're clear and you're getting clouds.
Wait, you're getting clear?
Oh yeah. We're crispy right now.
Oh wow. Nice. Yeah.
I don't like this scope as much because it doesn't get as crisp as the 80 millimeter. I have an 80 millimeter on screen, which actually I think this is the 72, but
a W13 guy,
weird guy.
Yeah, weird guy.
Yeah.
He's in my chat. He says, "Mark, you have to incorporate a magic trick in your talk." I do. Actually, many times I open with magic tricks, actually, and I use them to illustrate principles. I did a whole show, actually, of science that was actually all magic. It was a magic show, but I was doing scientific principles demonstrations through magic. I mean, that's really cool.
Dude, if I ever go to one of your talks and you start like spitting up towels or like pulling towels out of your mouth or...
No, I don't do that. Okay, but it would have to...
These little red balls.
No, I've done that too, but I used to do that. But the thing was, for the astronomy show, basically, that I did, I had like large screen behind me and it was displaying like, the Hubble spacecraft, Hubble telescope imagery of like the Horsehead Nebula and other things. Just gorgeous views, the Orion Nebula. And I was talking about things like, weightlessness in space, zero gravity. And so how did I illustrate that? I pulled out a big silver ball and I tossed it up in the air and it stayed there, and then I had a cloth that I was moving it through the air with a cloth. And it was just dancing around me. And it was just like a really cool little magic trick. It's actually called the zombie. And then it's actually a well-known illusion. And then I did a number of other things like that. But everything had to do with things that were floating, stars that were appearing and stuff like that. For infrared energy, like to talk about heat energy, I actually had I'd reach out with my fingertips and bam, I'd have this bright orange and red light at the end of my fingertips. And I could throw it to my other hand, and it would go off and then on in the other hand. So it was really totally magical. It wasn't a light per se. That was a physical light. But it was really cool. So, stuff like that. And I really incorporate these things a lot of times because when you're doing a talk, you're there because you're giving people information, but you're also an entertainer. You have to entertain people. You have to make them feel it was worth going to the talk. Yes, I heard a lot of really cool things, and I also saw some really neat demonstrations of low gravity or infrared energy. I mean, stuff like that.
I can imagine what people say. Like they're like, "Hey, I went to an astronomy talk tonight, and I got covered in toilet paper."
I mean,
people
who
be
else?
Like, what?
Who else could do that? That kind of. Who else could make that claim?
Yeah. But
Only
it's a perfect example for what you're trying to tell them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Ronald
mean,
says
who else is going to have the time besides you to sit there and write on toilet paper?
Oh, yeah, I have no life.
That's a long way. Is it 2-ply?
Yeah, actually, it's a 2-ply, and actually, I use it. Full disclosure, it's used. No, it's actually it's the paper that's used as a backer for certain types of curtains and so forth. So it's a thick paper. It's the same width as toilet paper, and I cut it to length. And when I bought it at the fabric store, because I used real toilet paper for a couple of years, and then it really started looking ratty after a while, and I couldn't get it to not look ratty, so I had to convert to something new.
Yeah. So you just cut regular paper?
It's not regular paper. It's actually a thicker, fabric-y type paper, kind of like
money paper.
Like money. Money is a fabric paper.
Mm-hmm.
This is a less robust fabric paper, but good nonetheless. I want to say hi to James Dugan out here, a weird guy, Cosmic Lettuce in my chat. These are 3 of the new ones that I have noticed here. James Dugan's from Australia. Mm-hmm. And I think, mentioned this the other day. First of all, the flat earthers don't think Australia exists, like you said. But James can look at Orion, too, and he'll see that it's upside down compared to how I see it. Now, there's only one way that can be, and that's if he's on a curved ball. And why is that not so obvious? I mean, it's so obvious that it's the height of ignorance to think that the Earth is flat. How about that?
It's amazing. I have a couple of them floating around here now.
Yeah, well,
they insist that they're right.
Well, see, when someone insists they're right, that's the first sign that they might be wrong.
Yeah.
And then people can say the same for me. I just said what I said. I get that.
How many times have you been called a NASA shill or a sheeple? Oh, I can't even count anymore.
Yeah. And heaven forbid, and the fact that I do work for the Navy at times, that immediately makes people really suspect of me. They go to my website, and with one click of the mouse, they think they've done research.
Oh, yeah.
And discovered that I've worked for 3-letter agencies.
Yeah.
Ooh, I put that publicly out on my webpage. I don't hide that.
So that's what we call research in 2019.
Yeah. I basically... I basically don't hide it, okay? And again, I'm a thorn in their side sometimes because I'm insistent on the fact that they come clean, that things that they are seeing mistaken as UFOs are I want people to know that these are actually our things that they see many of the times. Sometimes not, and that's of course why we're in this.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I don't know.
Paul is trying with that 9-inch scope, man. He's got it out just on the cusp because we got 0.5% until we're actually full. Because I think the full moon actually happens tomorrow morning at around 10:46 or something like that. So tonight and tomorrow night were basically considered, the super moons. But actually, in reality, it doesn't happen until tomorrow morning. But we're taking it as it is. Maybe we'll take tomorrow night off since we did it tonight. Because once again, to anybody that doesn't know or anybody that's new to the channel, full moons are just horrible for imaging. Yeah, you can barely get any contrast. Everything is whitewashed. Just so bright, and it's hard to get any detail out of anything. So really, the only option you have is to keep, the wide field, the full moon view. So anybody asking for zooms or zoom in on the Terminator, which is barely there right now, this is what you get. This is the only thing left.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So if you want super zooms tonight, sorry, you're SOL. And
you know what? I tell you too. Okay, the scopes that Paul has are tuned specifically to looking at lunar features, especially at phases that are less than full.
Not only that, but the cameras are built.
Yeah.
For phasic moon. You know what I mean? This camera is actually not built for a full moon. It doesn't do well.
No, well, not many do, because at full moon, it's almost like looking at what we call a photographic gray card. You know that was it 18% gray or 13% gray card. You know that used to calibrate light meters.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't remember that. Okay, never mind. Okay, no problem.
I was in the middle of taking a drink. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Infowars.com. Prison Planet. But yeah. Oh, well, at least you tried, people. There you go. There's your big scope zoom for the night. I'm surprised he's actually getting that much. He did this last month too, Mark. Remember? We were just about at full, and he was getting some contrast around the edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's getting something
see,
like that.
he has he's better suited for that.
Yeah.
Than I am. You know, I'm not able to zoom like he does, but that's okay. I can actually show deep sky objects that are, you know, just beautiful.
Well, it's just like you said before. Our systems are set up for what we do.
Exactly, same as mine.
You know, our systems are set up with the moon in mind, number one. Yeah. And it's for a phase moon, not for a full moon. So that is what everything is optimized to. Now, obviously, we can get planets like Mars and Jupiter and Saturn when they're up in our night sky. We will do those. We do, you know, especially around when May comes around, we'll be doing Jupiter and Saturn streams exclusively. That's all that's up. But like yours, everything is optimized for deep sky stuff. You know?
Yeah.
So, and you got a heck of a setup there.
Well, I mean, it's purpose built to show people the deep sky, just like yours is purpose built to show people. Well, okay, let's put it this way: Paul's telescope store, and he just breaks out whichever telescope he wants to for the night.
Yeah.
Is purpose built to show people the moon. It's just beautiful. Yeah. I want to welcome Pamela Cheney to the chat. Hi, Pam. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Cryptic Warrior, thanks for coming along. You know, we got, I like seeing people show up. That's very nice. Yeah, and you know what? That's weird. My participant list is like almost empty, yet the same people are chatting over and over and over. So I think something's wrong with it.
Yeah, I don't think it really is all that accurate anyway.
Really not that accurate. Because, you know, Cosmic Lettuce, wonderful guy, he's been writing every fifth comment's one of his. Is he on the list? No, he's not even in the participant list.
That's crazy.
I don't know what this is doing.
That's YouTube for you, though.
Yeah.
They've been working so hard at getting the new creator studio up and running that they let a lot of things like lapse.
Yeah.
You know, but hey. And I thought the one thing that they would do with that creator studio was to add live stream to it, you know. But they still haven't done that yet. If they did, I'd be using the new creator studio.
Yeah. But Keisha Fowler says, thank you both for doing what you do.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Because we love it.
Yeah, we do. We can't not do it.
Yeah.
No. So we're looking at the moon right now, and it is almost full. Tomorrow around 10 in the morning, it's going to be full. But that doesn't help us. But if it's clear tomorrow night, we'll be back here again, checking it out. And it is, as I note on the screen here, it is pre-supermoon night. Kind of like the pre-Super Bowl, I guess. That means that the moon, supermoon, is actually the time when the moon, which has a slightly elliptical orbit, is the closest to the Earth at the same time that it's a full moon. So it looks larger in the sky by a few percentage points, and it's actually brighter. And I actually noticed tonight when I went outside, it really did look brighter. You know, the moon is about as bright in the sky as, you know, some stars, some brighter stars in our nearby stellar neighborhood would be if they were closer to us. So, you know, be thankful that we have a moon and not these other bright stars, because we would just have, you know, the washed out Milky Way would not even show up. We might not even have ever known it was there if we had another star that was very nearby, you know?
Yeah. How long do you plan on streaming tonight, Mark? Do you know?
Do you
have an idea of what time you want to be wrapping?
Now, Eastern time. Although that's kind of funny because it's not 11:39, it's at 10:39. Sorry.
Yeah.
I looked at my observatory clock and it said 10:39, and I thought I was seeing 11:39, but it was just my eyes. Yeah, it's probably another hour or hour and a half, maybe.
I don't even think we're going to go that long.
What's that?
I don't even think we're going to go that long. I mean, there's just no action going on. No satellites or nothing.
Well, again, it could also be the altitude of the orbit, the inclination.
Well, yeah, I'm not denying that. What I'm just saying is it would be a lot more open to streaming longer if something has passed. But since there hasn't been anything.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything go here.
And we've been going since, was it, when did we come on? 7:30? 8 o'clock, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been on for almost 3 hours already.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, when did I start? I started around 9:15 or so. So I've been going an hour and a half at least around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should actually text Paul and see what time he wants to wrap up. I mean, even though the clouds finally stopped, so far, anyway.
Yeah.
Let's ask him. Boom, 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 boom. And hello to anybody watching on Astro Imaging Live as well.
Yeah, whoever's on Astro Imaging Live, we're over here in the YouTube channels on Skyter Livestream and P&K Science.
I was looking at the back end of Astro Imaging Live, and it seems like a lot of people in South America use astroimaginglive.com a lot.
Really?
That's where most of the traffic was coming from anyway.
Board.com.
Yeah. I was surprised how many people were watching on that actually just went there to get our links for the lunar eclipse and actually came over to YouTube then.
Really?
Yeah. That's how to really take off. I mean, I hope to get somebody in Australia. Like, I'd love to get somebody in Australia, maybe Italy, UK, maybe even Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know,
well, James Dugan, awesome. Rapidly becoming one of our favorite Australian viewers, might have some clues. He was telling Laura, who works with me on things, about some Australian conferences that are going on down there, which is wonderful. I'd like to pursue that, Laura. And then, but James might actually know folks that are down there doing this. I actually want to go to Siding Spring Observatory down there and talk to some of the folks working on programs there.
I'll tell you what, I mean, we do know Dave or Dazza the cameraman who's over in New Zealand, but yeah. I know he has some health issues that prevents him from, doing it a lot anyway.
I haven't heard from him in months.
Really? Have you heard from our friend Paul Shalito lately?
I have not actually.
I want to send him a message.
Well, I did a few things with him, and apparently, his audience is more science grounded than Paul thought. And when we were talking about the USO thing, I think that people thought that I was some kind of nut. I was just reporting what I saw. I wasn't trying to say anything crazy was going on.
Yeah.
It's sort of a misunderstood thing, but I haven't heard from Paul since then.
It's just amazing how that still has that stigma to it. No matter what, I mean, just a simple mention.
Yeah, and the fact is, as I pointed out a number of times, every single NASA mission to the planets, every single lander, it searches for the indicators of life. Why would we do that if we didn't think it was out there? We know it's out there. And we're just trying to find the indicators. Mars has thrown these things up in our faces several times. How could you have these particular round balls, the blueberries on Mars? They can only form in the presence of water. Well, that means if there's water here on Earth, we know that the planets automatically make amino acids.
Well, think about another thing. Think about it through the scientific method. Okay, this is what I don't understand. hardcore scientist just automatically write off UFOs as nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you get those hard-headed scientists, but yet you look at the observations that have happened over the last just 100 years alone. So many people have seen these things, and so many credible people have seen it. Me and Bill were talking about this earlier. You know, the people that we as a society deemed, you know, with the highest credibility, police officers, military personnel, you know, ex-presidents, you know, they have reported sightings and seeing these things, and yet you still have scientists thinking it's a joke. You still have the 11 o'clock news coming on as the last story with giggles. Was this little green men in Vermont? You know, it's ridiculous.
Well, but see, that is a problem with the acronym. The UFO acronym led to, and maybe this was because at the time, at one point, the word UFO was a very serious thing, you know. But then I think the media, coached probably by the military, trying to throw in some disinformation, perhaps, ended up playing it off like, you know, these are just nut cases. Yeah. And in some cases, they were.
Absolutely.
But in other cases, they absolutely weren't. And, you know, look, how do I explain what happened to me with the implant thing that I had happen? I did Monsterland with, you know, Ronnie LeBlanc and Maddie just before I streamed. And I talked about that incident. I'm a science guy. I don't know why or how I was basically imprisoned in my body, you know, for like 15 minutes while something was shoved up into my sinus. You know, I don't know. I don't know what that was. Was it a dream? No, because I had blood on the pillow and the doctor had to pull something out of my sinus that got lodged up there. You know what
ticks me off these days? Like the rock star scientists, the credible scientists or whatever, are now using UFO as, you know, trying to be hip. You know, so you'll see them in interviews like, what do you think about, you know, aliens and whatnot? And they'll say, well, according to the math, of course, there's probably life out there somewhere. So they'll say that in an interview, but they won't take anything that's happening here on this planet seriously when it comes to people that actually seen it or abduction cases or anything like that. It baffles me. You know? I just don't get it. I don't know.
I was just writing a message to Laura on my stream.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, sirree.
But then, you know what? Nobody really started using UAP either until Hillary Clinton did.
Yeah.
She made that public. Well, public to the masses on the late night show, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, she said, you want to know what? You know, they don't like the term UFO anymore. They use the term UAP.
Yeah, it's an attempt to give it more legitimacy. But you know what? I don't care. I just want to know. I don't care what you call it. Call it, you know, Bobby. I don't care. Okay? The bottom line is, you know, you got to give it some credence. You've got to give it some data, and you've got to give it some authoritative, definitive foundation and standing, most importantly. If you can give it some standing, then you will know that it's real, and you can actually, take it to the masses, and they'll actually buy it. I know that the press, you know, can't argue with science.
Yeah,
they can't argue with science.
They try.
Yeah, I know. I know, and usually when they're arguing from a perspective of not knowing the science, that becomes hilarious because then they're actually doing absolutely, they make absolutely crazy comments that are so non-scientific, yet they think they are, you know.
Well,
I mentioned one on my radio show yesterday on KGRA. I basically said, hey, I get UFO cases where people say this UFO was right over my head and it had a plasma shroud around it, a shroud of plasma. And I said, well, plasma to exist needs to be tens of thousands of degrees. So it most certainly wasn't plasma. If it was plasma, you would have been, and I use this term too, I said you'd be seared to bacon. Okay. and before you could take your breath, because the air itself would actually be luminescent with the heat. So that's something that you have to understand.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
Cosmic Life is
John
saying,
Bruce in the P&K chat. Sit back and relax, man. It's like you make so many demands. Just sit back
well,
and
he's in
relax.
my chat too, which is nice, and he said, "Are lunar waves real?" Yeah, they're real in the sense that we know pretty much what causes them. Uh, there's the air is not a constant density. There are areas of lower density and higher density. In areas of lower density, there's a lot more. There's actually more movement in the air. All right. In colder air, it's higher density. It's more still. So if you can imagine a jet flying through the sky, and its engines are leaving a path behind them for miles and miles and miles of air that's been heated, and that stays pretty cohesive for a period of time behind the jet. And so long after the jet's gone from your sky, you've got this invisible, if there's no contrail, you've got this invisible wave and lines rather of warmed air. And when they pass between you and the moon, sometimes they do because air masses travel as a mass, and as the air aloft moves through that area and goes across the face of the moon, you get essentially a mirage. That part of the moon shimmers for just a split second as this line of jet exhaust passes over it. Yeah. And that's what became the lunar wave.
Yeah, and every video I've seen of a lunar wave, quote unquote, has been from people that live really close to airports.
That's correct, yeah. That's been the case too.
If not, I'm going to say within 40, 50 miles of an airport. So, you can kind of do the math on that one.
Yeah.
Plus, there's been many videos of people recreating it with just that scenario. Finding, a plane that's flying just under or above or that went through, 2 minutes earlier. It's nowhere near the moon. And yet they filmed the moon and then filmed the wave coming across of it.
You just have to know. You just have to know the direction that the air mass aloft is moving. And then you could set up to photograph it, and be ready for it. If you know the speed, which you can figure out. And then you can just sit there and do it, And I like that.
Progressive Psych asks if we can view the moon in different wavelengths. Yes, you can view the moon however you want to. But no, we are not set up, and it's not, it's more or less to do with the camera than anything. But no, we are not set up to view different wavelengths with this setup. So there you go. Just amazing.
I don't mind people asking those questions. I was answering Cosmic's question too about well, not question, but he asked he did ask a question about whether I'm using some processing. The image out of the camera is raw, and then what I do is I am processing it slightly by changing the hue a little bit, because I do have a light pollution filter in there right now. Technically, I could take it out for the moon, but I like to use it because it kind of it helps bring down the brightness. And sometimes when you bring down the brightness, it makes it really a lot more detailed to look at. Then add some post-processing afterwards too to kind of enhance the image enough to look great. Mm-hmm. And I'm just staring at the moon tonight, just seeing what we got, because if something crosses it, we will see it. I've never caught something crossing the moon, and I want to.
Yeah, it'd be a great night for it.
It would. It would.
Our clouds have disappeared. It doesn't look like you really have any clouds going on over there.
A few pass here and there.
Yeah.
But, with the moon being as bright as it is, it's got to really be some kind of a bright or a heavy, dense cloud bank to totally block out the moon.
Right. So really anything near the moon, the only way it's going to be like a dark in color if it's a dark color object, correct? Besides, if it's a lighter color object, it would almost be illuminated, you would think.
Well, no. I mean, here's the thing: the moon is bright. So if a object passes between you and the moon, and it's not as bright as the moon, it's going to look dark. Okay, and so, for instance, a mylar balloon passing between us and the moon would look like a black round thing. It wouldn't be a shiny thing. Okay. Again, the camera is set up to have a normal exposure for the moon. So for a normal exposure of the moon, anything passing in front of the moon is probably going to be dark, unless it's basically emitting its own light. That's pretty bright. All right. So in other words, if an aircraft flew through and it had those red and green lights that stay on,
right,
you'd see red and green lights just fine. As long as they're bright enough. But the other lights you might see only briefly, but you'd see them in front of the moon because they are as bright or brighter than the full moon.
I'll tell you what, Mark, you want to answer a question that we get 1,000 times, but if you want to answer it again.
Sure.
Cork asked, if there are 30,000 satellites, why don't we see hundreds crossing the moon?
Actually, Cork, there's a lot more than 30,000 satellites. If you want to count a satellite as an object in orbit around the Earth, we're approaching 1 million objects, actually. So your question now takes on even more importance, right? And more significance. The answer is many of those objects are very small. And there may be 30,000 satellites that are of relatively good size, but only 3,800 active ones, maybe about 4,000 active ones. And so of those, they have to be just on the right trajectory. If the moon crosses the ecliptic, that is the equator of the Earth extended out into space, okay, that's where the geosynchronous satellites are located, all along the ecliptic. So if we did that, we'd see 20, 30, 40 satellites in a night, slowly moving across the moon. Because the moon is moving eastward in the sky, not westward. And the satellites are sitting over the same spot on the planet. So as the Earth rotates from west toward the east, okay, we are rotating out from under the stars, but the satellites that are geosynchronous are over the same spot on the Earth. They also travel across the Earth from west to east and follow the rotation of the Earth. Now, when that happens, we see that the satellites, if they're on the moon, we'd see that they would be like a little dark spot traveling across the moon very slowly. Because the moon is moving. You can actually watch the moon move against the stars. During the lunar eclipse, we actually watched the occultation of several stars with the moon as the star went behind the moon. And the moon approached it from the west and crossed over it, as it went eastward. Okay? Because the moon is moving east in the sky. That's why it rises later and later each night. Because it rises farther in the east each night. All right? And so that said, when you have that many satellites up there, the only way you're going to see a lot of them is if the moon happens to be passing through an area where there's a lot of satellites that cross that particular location. But keep in mind that as big as the moon is on our screen right now, okay, take a look. Let's see now. Take a look at Dome Cam 2 over here. All right, Dome Cam 2 over here. There's the moon. That little white dot you see in the right side on my screen in SkyTour live stream. That little white dot is the moon, all right? And we're looking out over the end of the telescope. Okay, that little tiny white dot is how big it is in the sky. So the chances of a satellite actually crossing that isn't really that high, unless you get to the celestial equator with the moon.
Yeah, it's less than half a degree.
Yeah, the moon is like a half a degree.
You can literally see the super moon through a drinking straw. You don't believe me? You can try it. You can go outside, look through a drinking straw, and you can see the entire moon with room to spare. It's just, it's a very small area of sky we're looking at.
Yeah, and you're asking a satellite to go through that very small area of sky. Most any satellites that are around 250 miles up, of which there's some, like the ISS, they would go through the view, and they'd go through quite quickly, right? But they could be also orbiters that are polar orbiting. Most of them are west to east orbiters, but some of them are or east to west orbiters, and most of those are actually going to be in that kind of an orbit. To change orbits to go like north to south is actually quite energy consuming. They have to actually readjust and realign the rockets, and it's actually not easy to do that. Not easy at all. But they do it, and we see it happen. You'll notice I keep having to move toward the east as the night goes on.
I tell you what, Paul's got that alignment on lock tonight, man. That thing ain't moving out of frame for nothing.
Well, you know what? I actually have, here. Here's my tracking controls here. I can take the track there, and I also can set the tracking to be lunar tracking as well. But I don't bother because I just like being able to move the telescope around and do it. It's very nice.
I'll tell you what, we're going to wrap up here at 11:15 on P&K. That way Paul can get some sleep for work tomorrow.
Okay.
But that's another 15 minutes. I might just stay and hang out with you.
Okay, well, I'll probably go to 11:30.
Oh, okay.
So my battery out there is at 14%.
Oh.
I can swap the battery, but I think when the battery drops down, I'll call it.
Yeah. I mean, full moons,
whatever. Yeah.
This is a direct message from Paul. This is what he said. I asked him what time he wanted to wrap. And he says, "You know me, I hate full moons." And he said he already dropped the camera like an idiot.
What,
so he said
tonight?
it's totally up to me. So he's going to put the others away, and he's going to leave it on this view until we're done. So that's what made us decide 11:15.
Okay.
So this is the view for the rest of the stream.
All right. Well, I've been on the wide angle the whole time. I've actually done a little bit of the zooming. Like this is a zoomed view.
Well, he had 4 scopes out tonight. He drug the big one out just kind of out of the blue just to see if he would get any contrast or anything. But the other ones are all wide field.
Yeah. Wow. Aristarchus is pretty bright.
Yeah, Aristarchus is glowing down there. That's like, I was trying to tell Bill earlier, isn't that like the 4th brightest object in the solar system?
Aristarchus?
Like the sun, the moon, then Venus, then Aristarchus, and then Jupiter, and then Mars?
I can't imagine Aristarchus is brighter than Venus. I'm sorry, Jupiter and Mars.
You don't think?
No.
I thought it was. I know maybe it was in the top 10 or something.
I mean, I've never heard that. I've never heard that contest announced. Which one's brighter?
Well, you don't listen to stupid stuff like I do.
What is that stupid stuff?
I have no idea. I just remember hearing it. I remember Aristarchus is pretty bright. Like one of the brightest things in the solar system anyway. But, I could be wrong. I could be having a brain fart.
It is bright, though. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But certainly that bright ejecta is something that stands out for sure.
Yeah. And for people in the P&K chat, once again, for the telescope being used, it's right on screen. The bottom left of the screen tells you what telescope is being used. The top left is for the clock to timestamp any objects. You can see right under astroimaginglive.com where the scope is being, placed. It's in Miami, Florida. A lot of the info you guys asked for is actually on screen already. So it's kind of might bypass you if you're staring directly at the moon. It might just go off into your peripheral. But it's there.
Okay.
Just so you guys know.
I want to say in my chat here, I want to say hello to one happy guy who lives in Mount Shasta. I want to say hi to Lace McGuinn. And let's see, Wicked Angel. Maybe that stands for Kentucky. I'm not sure, but Wicked Angel's here as well. I want to say hi to you guys as well. They just popped in, said a few things, like hello. And we have Johan D. And the Dog Star, he asked about the Dog Star, or he or she. Isn't the Dog Star supposed to come in and out tonight? Well, actually, that's the star Sirius, and it's to the lower left of Orion. It's out now, but it's not. It's not actually something that we're looking at the moment, only because we're watching the moon tonight. But I'll show you where it is in relation to the moon, because I can take the moon, center it up here in the screen, and I can actually bring us to the planetarium program. Well, there's the moon up here, okay? And if we look at where the moon is, okay, and we zoom out a little bit, you'll notice that we have down here, this is Sirius, this is the Dog Star. And if we put in the constellation lines, this is Sirius, the great dog. And if we add the mythology behind it, you can see the dog. Okay, this is the unicorn, Monoceros. This is Procyon. Okay, Procyon is another dog, and Sirius is the other dog. This is Canis Major, Canis Minor. And those are Orion's hunting dogs. And here is Orion right here. Okay, so that is what that's about. So we have Orion right here. We have Sirius, the Dog Star, is here, okay, and then we have the moon up here, right? The moon is in Leo right now. You can actually see Leo the lion right there. There he is, okay, and it looks like he's growling at the moon, in fact. So that's kind of cool. And so Leo is actually a location we look at a lot in Skytour Livestream, because there's a ton of amazingly beautiful galaxies within Leo, and we tend to look at them, as you can see them here, and there's more than that still, but they get lost with the glare of the moon, and this program dutifully shows that when the glare goes away, brighter things show up, or fainter things will show up.
And Stellarium is a program that any of you guys can have. It's free.
It is free.
Download it, and it's pretty fun to play around with. You can go around in the solar system, or wherever, and it gives you perspectives from Earth. It's a really neat program. And
the other thing too is, Stellarium. I'm running a lot of extras on Stellarium, because you can get these extras for it. Don't cost any money, but you'll spend a lot of time downloading all the extras. So I have done that, so that I can show you guys far beyond just a couple of things that we're looking at here.
You use it as a scope control too, right?
I'm using it to control my telescope, as well as another program, that's this one here that we see so much, the control program. So yeah, and I've got a number of integrated applications that are all working together to bring this to you. And it's fun,
I love how you have that set up there. It just looks so awesome.
Well, I'm glad, because this is something that I wanted to do for a long time. And here's what I'm going to do, it just to show people what we're all about in general. This is the Beehive cluster in the constellation of Cancer. But you don't see it yet. We're on the moon right now. Tell you what, let's go check this out. We'll just hop over there. So I'll just say move it, and let's go and get over and see the Beehive cluster. Here we are. And let's make sure that the telescope is in the clear, and I got to increase now the ISO, or the sensitivity, so we'll do that. And if the dome isn't in the way, we should actually see some stars begin to appear. I got to bring down, get the longer exposure going here. There we go. Now that I've done that, we actually see some stars that have showed up here, and this is actually what's known as Persepi, the beehive. The beehive, yes indeed. So we'll take a picture of it, a third of a second at 10,000 ISO. Now we have a full moon, so it's going to be probably pretty bright. And there we go. And I'll just gotta reduce it, but there you go. You can see here's the beehive, and these are all stars that we tend to visit. When we talk about astronomy, we look at these different stars and we notice they're all in a cluster. They're born in a cluster together. Amazing stuff, and we talk about this in Sky Tour live stream. So hopefully you come over. And for those of you watching in P&K, I'm sorry you're not seeing this, but it is on Sky Tour live stream on YouTube.
Yeah, and Dee just posted the link for you over here.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Dee is on it tonight. She's sniping and she's posting links.
Dee, you know what? You're an unsung hero. We don't talk enough about what you do for us, and I want to thank you.
We love Dee.
Dee,
And Dee,
is
hopefully
one
you're
of the
feeling
best
better.
people out there, okay? If she comes on board with one of your streams, if you're streaming somewhere and she says, hey, I'll be a mod for you, don't say no. Don't ask her any questions. If you see her, you offer that.
I think she came here from, I forget where she said that she saw this stream from when she first came here. But it was it Dark Skywatcher maybe?
Really?
It might have been. I forget where she initially said, but
okay.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised she came. Oh, maybe it was Secure Team.
Oh.
I don't know if I left a comment there that she clicked on it or something like that, but it was weird. And I was like, wow, Dee really came from Secure Team or something like that. Okay. But yeah, she's been a great mod.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very awesome. There's really no way I'd be... okay, it was Take Back Space.
All right, well, that's fair. That's better than Secure Team.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, she's one in a million.
Absolutely. No doubt. She's really good to everybody else and all of us, and we can't say enough about her, because what can I say?
She's definitely what I consider part of the team anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Like when we think about stuff to do, especially with online streaming and stuff, Dee's name does come up.
Yeah,
the same way Amanda's does. She's in the inner circle per se.
A little more than per se.
She's the one that keeps the chats clean.
Yep.
She
has a smile on her face right now. You know that.
Good. She should. Yeah, she's an asset.
Absolutely.
And once again, Dee, I hope you are feeling better. I know you were feeling a little under the weather yesterday, so hopefully you're feeling a little bit better today.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, DDB.
You can get your supplements from Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv. Get our Ultra Vita Male supplements. Comes with asbestos and back hair.
Get your vitamin regimen.
Yeah, get your vitamin regimen. And it definitely won't turn the frogs gay.
Vitamin regimen. Let's go check out the GoldenEye cluster if we can see it. I say if we see it because I want to make sure that the telescope you can see the stars moving by here.
And as Mark is talking, I'm gonna start wrapping up things on this end. So don't pay no attention to what's going on over here, Mark. But I will tell you guys bye for now on the mic anyway. We're going to start wrapping up here. And if you guys want to continue the fun, head on over to Mark's channel. I'm sure Dee will post that link once again for you. He said it'll be going to 11:30 or so, or until the battery runs out. I guess whichever comes first, Mark.
Yeah, we're at 10% now, so we should get a few more minutes.
Okay. So, yeah, if you want to continue the party, we're going to wrap it up so Paul can get some sleep tonight. And we might take tomorrow night off just because it's going to be a full moon again. It depends on what's going on. Then we'll have 2 or 3 streams again on the waning side of things before we knock off the moon cycle. And then we're back into the infrared once again with all the new stuff that has arrived in the last 2 weeks. Trying to get that thing perfected and up and running for everybody. So, once again, P&K people, thank you very much, and we'll see you, if not tomorrow night, the night after.
Awesome. So, and hope to see folks from P&K Science. Come on over and say hi and Sky to our live stream. We'd love to have
over
you.
To Mark's. And we'll just continue talking between us. I just wanted to make sure to get that out before we wrapped up.
Okay.
So wow, guys, you guys went ham. 301 likes. Jeez Louise. Thank you very much, people. Wow.
301 likes?
301 likes. Gee,
Oh, fantastic.
fantastic.
Wow, that's good, man. That's very good.
They are. They're one of the best. I mean, we have received, once again, emails with people telling us that we have the best chat on YouTube just for the fact that we do keep it civil. And that's thanks to the mods. All the mods, from Ted to Dee Dee to Nancy, to even Heidi when she comes around. Bill, of course, you, Mark. You know, we try to keep it that everybody can enjoy it. You know, we don't let it get too out of control. You know, there's two things that definitely can get you banned right out the bat, and which is, you know, racism or threats. Besides that, you know, it's up to individual moderators, but they know the deal, and they've been doing it a long time, and it's because of them that the chat remains civil. Yeah. You know, we can have our nights like everybody else that gets bombarded with, you know, trolls, but, you know, they do a real good job of keeping a place clean for everybody.
Sure.
Thank you, mods.
They do great. They do a fantastic job.
Yeah, we have a lot of the same mods.
Yeah, we do. In fact, that was sort of intentional.
Yep.
You know, which is great.
Just to let you know, Mark, you're officially off screen at P&K. I just took your thing off. So anybody who wants to check Mark out, go ahead and jump over to his channel. He'll be there until the battery goes dead, or
they can still hear you.
Which one? Whatever one comes first.
All right, cool. Yeah, well, the battery will be dead very soon. That's okay, because I do have some clouds coming in that I've noticed that I can see. The clouds don't show up in my planetarium program, unfortunately.
Are you supposed to get any of the snow? I mean, they're calling for us to start Wednesday, and they're talking like 3 to 6 inches for us here in PA.
Baloney.
I'm not sure if it's going to get that far north to actually reach you. It might go off the coast by then.
Maybe, but you know, usually I get hammered with stuff that hits you.
Yeah, I think this one's mostly coming from west to east. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's actually going to, like, another low's going to form off the coast or anything like that, or it come up the coast. I think it's just going straight off.
Okay.
To the east, but you never know. You might get some.
Yeah, just what we need.
All right, everybody at P&K, I want to thank you very much. And once again, we're all jumping over to Mark's channel. So I'll close this down, and we'll let Paul get some Z's, and we'll be over at Mark's until he's done.
Awesome.
So everybody go ahead and jump on over there. Thanks for joining me over here. And the party continues.
Exactly.
Back to Mark's we go.
Very good, very good.